Chapter 441. Buzz. At this moment, the vertical eye in the center of the tribulation clouds slowly revealed itself, staring at Fong Qingshan. In an instant, Fong Qingshan, who had just overcome the lightning tribulation, felt his heart sink. An invisible pressure locked onto him, making it hard for him to breathe. No way, there's more? Fong Qingshan simply wanted to curse. Was there an end to it? Wasn't it just an itinerant immortal tribulation? Was there a need to do this? That kind of supreme, emotionless, and indifferent aura was daunting. At this moment, the heavenly tribulation was also very conflicted. Generally speaking, regardless of whether it was because of the jealousy of the heavens or because of heavy karma, although the heavenly tribulation would increase in intensity, it would only increase the heavenly tribulation by 1 in 9 times. 3 nines became 4 nines, 6 nines became 7 nines, and 9 nines became mixed origin tribulation. Although Fong Qingshan had survived the 49 heavenly tribulations, and each wave of the lightning tribulation was exceptionally heavy, he was still able to withstand it. However, it didn't seem to cause much damage to him, especially the last wave. How was this a tribulation? It was simply a stroll in the park. This made the heavenly tribulation feel that its dignity had been greatly challenged. Fortunately, Hongjun Tiandao was ruthless, and Hongjun Tiandao was just as impartial. They would not deliberately target Fong Qingshan. After staring at him for a while, as if trying to remember him and wait for the next thunder tribulation to properly greet him, the eye of heavenly tribulation slowly retreated. Who? Fong Qingshan, Qiong Qi, Jiang Zia, and the others could not help but heave a sigh of relief when they saw this. At first, Fong Qingshan thought that there would be 59 heavenly tribulations and hurriedly refined the chaos essence pearl umbrella. However, it was useless now. There were great fortuitous opportunities in the great calamity. After overcoming the lightning tribulation, it was time to enjoy Buzz. However, as the tribulation clouds dispersed, thousands of rays of light suddenly appeared in the sky, as if they were celebrating for the person undergoing the tribulation. There were golden dragons soaring into the sky, heavenly maidens scattering flowers, and all sorts of other phenomena, intoxicating people. Not long after, in the endless rays of light, a milky white pillar of light rushed straight down, enveloping Fong Qingshan in an instant. Then a heart-wrenching pain instantly buried Fong Qingshan. This was Hongjun Tiandao, remolding the body and primordial spirit of the person undergoing the tribulation. After passing the itinerant immortal tribulation, one would become an immortal. There was a gap between immortal and mortal, so things were naturally different. When ascenders from other worlds entered the world of immortals, they would first enter the mortal realm. After entering the immortal realm, they ascended. However, in the world of gods, there was no need to go through so much trouble. As long as one survived the lightning tribulation, the heavenly Tao would help them complete this step. However, since it was a metamorphosis, it was naturally not an easy task. There can be no construction without destruction, and only after destruction can there be construction. Fortunately, this situation did not last long. In less than a quarter of an hour, everything returned to normal. If it weren't for Qingshan's immortal aura and the bloodstains at the feet of Qiong Qi and the others, it would seem as if nothing had happened. Heavens. Qing Ming, Ming Heaven, Immortal Qi. Master. Immortal, Ming Master. Master. Ling, Qing Ming, Immortal Master. Jiang Zia also congratulated Fong Qingshan. Jiang Zia also looked at Fong Qingshan with envy and congratulated him. Fong Qingshan said with a smile. He had just experienced it and realized that he had to go through hardships to become stronger. He had just experienced it, and it was true that only those who suffered the most hardship could become the best. Although he had just passed the tribulation, his cultivation was no worse than those who had passed the tribulation for thousands of years. Although he had just passed the tribulation, his cultivation was no worse than those who had passed the tribulation for thousands of years. Generally speaking, it was more difficult to challenge someone of a higher cultivation level. Even so, Fang Qingshan was confident that even without utilizing his various treasures, he would be able to deal with the average earthen immortals with just his abilities. Master, Uncle Master! Suddenly, they heard Neza's voice from afar. Everyone looked back and saw Neza flying over on his wind fire wheels as if his boat was on fire. Quick, go back to West Qi. What's wrong? Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya immediately had an ominous premonition. Lord Marquis is dying. Neza took a breath and said, What? Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya felt like they were struck by lightning. It took them a while to come back to their senses. Without any hesitation, Jiang Ziya patted David's deer, and Fang Qingshan used the greater teleportation technique, and the two disappeared in an instant. As for Qiongqi, it moved as soon as Fang Qingshan moved. For a moment, Neza was the only one left on the field. With the David's deer and Fang Qingshan's speed, Jiang Ziya and Fang Qingshan quickly returned to West Qi. When they arrived at the place where Ji Chong lived, they saw that almost all the civil and military generals of Shiqi were there, and their hearts sank to the bottom. Master, Prime Minister, the others bowed when they saw the two, but they didn't care about that at the moment. They nodded and entered the main hall. They saw GFA and the others standing in front of the bed with sad faces, but Ji Chang's face was glowing as if nothing had happened. However, everyone knew that this was the final radiance of the setting sun. Master and Prime Minister are here. Ji Chang's eyes lit up when he saw Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya, and a smile appeared on his face. Marquis, the two suppressed their sadness and smiled as they stepped forward to greet him. Life, death, illness, and aging are part of the cycle of reincarnation. You don't have to be sad. Ji Chong comforted Jiang Ziya and Jiang Ziya. Fa, come here. Father. GFA walked over with a sorrowful face. I'll leave West Qi to you from now on. As Prime Minister for External Affairs and Master for Internal Affairs. Don't be stubborn. Ji Chong first told GFA and then said to Jiang Ziya and Jiang Ziya, For my sake, please help GFA in the future. If there's anything wrong, just say it. If he dares to disobey, he'll be unfilial. As he spoke, Ji Chong stood up and bowed to Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya. Don't worry, Marquis. We'll do our best. Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya hurriedly dodged and promised in unison. That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Ji Chong nodded in satisfaction when he heard Fang Qingshan and Jiang Ziya's words. He said good 3 times in a row, but he didn't even take a breath. Marquis, Ji Chong rode on a dragon. In an instant, the entire West Qi was on his back. Blessings never come in pairs, and misfortunes never come alone. After Ji Chang's death, the news of the death of Qiu Yin and the 4 generals of the demon family finally reached Chaoga. Finally, Wen Zhong attached great importance to it. Although he didn't want to, he had to go to battle in person, lest West Qi became too powerful and couldn't be dealt with easily. However, he didn't know that West Qi was no longer what it used to be. It was said that when Zhong requested the emperor to lead the army to battle, Daji, Emperor Zhou, Fei Zhong, and the others naturally couldn't ask for more, so they agreed without hesitation. If he wanted manpower, he would give them. If he wanted money, he would give them money. They sent Wen Zhong out of Chaoga as if he was the god of plague. Wen Zhong sighed with emotion. He had worked so hard for so long, and it didn't go to waste after all. If he knew the truth, would he be so angry that he would vomit blood? Chapter 442. Wen Zhong mobilized his troops and went straight to West Qi. On the way, he subdued Deng Zhong, Exine Huan, Zhang Jie, and Tao Rong, the 4 lords of heaven. One day, he suddenly came to a place called the Dragon Ridge. His body trembled, and many scenes appeared in his mind. Wen Zhong would have forgotten this place if he hadn't seen it today. He remembered that when he had just left the sect, his master, the goddess of golden spirit, had divined for him. She said that he should never encounter the word Jew in his life. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. Sure enough, everything was preordained by heaven. In the end, Wen Zhong was defeated and burned to death under the Dragon Ridge by Yun Zhongzi with the 9 dragons' heavenly fire pillar. Zhong naturally didn't know about this, but he respected the words of the goddess of golden spirit as if they were gods. Zhong didn't know whether it was because of his master's words or his mind, but he only felt that the place was gloomy. Therefore, even if it was a waste of time and effort, he still took a detour. He went around the Dragon Ridge and finally set up camp at the south gate of West Chi. At this moment, King Wen had just ridden the dragon to the sky. West Chi was full of mourning and mourning. Although an army full of righteous indignation was bound to win, Jiang Zia, Fang Qingshan, and GFA didn't want to disturb Ji Chang's rest. Therefore, they put up a no-fight sign. They would only fight with Zhong after Ji Chang was buried. Zhong didn't attack forcefully. First of all, death was the most important thing. Ji Chang's reputation made him worry. Second of all, he had to make some preparations. In the beginning, Zhong thought that the rebellions in West Chi and Southeast Chi were the same. He didn't pay much attention to them at all. He thought that even if they couldn't defeat them in a short time, they could at least curb their development and suppress their morale. However, Zhang Guifang was defeated. The 4 saints of Nine Dragons Island, Qiu Yin, and the 4 generals of the Mo family died. Zhong finally realized that he had underestimated West Chi and Jiang Zia. Under such circumstances, he naturally had to make more preparations. Otherwise, once he was defeated, it would be a magnitude 12 earthquake. The entire Great Shang would be shaken because of it. Therefore, he couldn't lose. He couldn't afford to lose. Thinking of this, Zhong arranged the troops and horses and rode the Black Qilin overseas. He needed a helper who could suppress Jiang Zia and the others. There were too many capable people and special people in Jie School. However, excluding the second-generation direct disciples, there were not many who could defeat the 4 saints and the 4 generals of the Mo family. After thinking about it, Zhong finally set his sights on the 10 heavenly lords. Although the cultivation of the 10 heavenly lords was slightly higher than the 4 generals of the Mo family and the 4 sages of Nine Dragons Island, they were only true immortals. In terms of magic treasures, they were no match for the 4 generals of the Mo family and the 4 saints of the Nine Dragons Island. However, the status of the 10 heavenly lords in the Jie sect was incomparable to that of the 4 saints of Nine Dragons Island. Because they knew the 10 terminal formation, the Jie school was famous for its array formations. Almost everyone knew array formations. The higher one's attainment in array formations, the higher their status. Among them, the most powerful one was the immortal slaying sword formation in Tongtian's hands, which was said to be unbreakable by anyone except the 4 sages. It was as famous as the Zhodian star formation and the 12 divine beings killing formation. Below it was the 10,000 immortal array that Tung Wang Kung, the former incarnation of perfected pure yang and the leader of the male immortals, used to suppress the light from providence. Then there was the 9 bends yellow river formation, the 10 terminal formation, and so on. In fact, the 10 heavenly lords were very talented. Otherwise, they would not have been taught arrays like the 10 terminal formation. Unfortunately, although they were talented, they were still some distance away from Cloud Sky and the others. As for their light from providence, there was no need to mention it. Therefore, they were not accepted into the inner sect and were only 3rd-generation disciples. Everyone's energy was limited. If one focused on one thing, one would naturally lose the other. Although the 10 terminal formation was powerful, it would take more time to comprehend and master it. It was precisely because the 10 heavenly lords were so focused on comprehending the 10 terminal formation that their cultivation was greatly delayed. Even so, some of the inner sect disciples in the Jie school did not dare to underestimate them. That was because hard work paid off. They had really comprehended the formation. Once the 10 terminal formation was activated, even those who were much stronger than them could only admit defeat, let alone those in the same realm. Jiang Zia had the Yushu apricot yellow flag to protect him, but his soul had still been taken away. Although the Yushu apricot yellow flag was not a soul defense Dharma treasure, it was still a supreme grade primordial spiritual treasure after all. It was obvious that his soul had been taken away so easily. To break the 10 terminal formation, the 12 golden immortals of the Chan school had to take action. One must know that the status of the two could not be mentioned in the same breath. Moreover, the 12 golden immortals had to sacrifice people to break the formation. Of course, Wen Zhong did not know that the 10 heavenly lords were so powerful. The reason why he invited them was that it would not make a big fuss. After all, in West Qi, except for Jiang Zia, only the third-generation disciples of the Chan school were helping. Moreover, the power of the 10 terminal formation was good. It should be enough to deal with Jiang Zia and the others. After all, he had heard of the 10 terminal formation. Wen Zhong rode the Black Qilin to the residence of the 10 heavenly lords on the Golden Turtle Island. He did not expect that the 10 heavenly lords were not there. Wen Zhong frowned and thought to himself, "Do I have to find someone else?" At this time, Wen Zhong met Han Jixian and learned from her that the 10 heavenly lords were refining the formation map on White Deer Island. So he turned to White Deer Island. This time he did not fail. The 10 heavenly lords were also very happy about Wen Zhong's arrival. After some small talk, they agreed without hesitation after learning the purpose of Wen Zhong's visit. The reason why they agreed so readily was that the people of the Jie school had always been like this. They were very united. Secondly, it was Wen Zhong's status. He was a third-generation disciple of Jie school and the disciple of the goddess of Golden Spirit, one of the 4 disciples of the inner sect. They would not reject him for the sake of the goddess of Golden Spirit. Moreover, Wen Zhong was on good terms with them. However, they were at a critical juncture in refining the formation map, so they still had to wait for some time. Wen Zhong naturally would not force them to come. It was fine as long as they came. It was not a big deal to delay it for a while. Ji Chang had just passed away anyway, and Shi Qi would not make trouble for no reason. In this way, after the formation map of the 10 heavenly lords was refined and Ji Chang was buried, the battle between Shi Qi and Chaoga finally began. But before that, Jiang Zia first completed the task entrusted to him by the primeval Lord of Heaven. He built an altar outside Shi Qi and hung the list of deification on it. So, as long as there was a famous person on the list of deification, their soul would be automatically taken by the list of deification after they died. Not only the soul, but also the natal dharma treasures in front of them. If they did not act quickly, they would be in vain in the future. For example, if they killed the 4 generals of the Mo family and did not take away their dharma treasures as soon as possible, the Jasper Pipa and the primordial bead umbrella would be taken away along with their souls. Chapter 443. Jiang Zia. Shi Qi harbors evil intentions and takes in rebels. Now that Ji Chang is dead, why don't you surrender? Do you really want the people of Shi Qi to be in deep trouble? Wen Zhong welcomed the 10 lords of heaven, and Jiang Zia took the no-fight card. Both sides led their troops and confronted each other in front of the city of Shi Qi. Before the battle, they naturally had to say a few words. Wen Zhong rode the Black Qilin forward and scolded. Wen Zhong, King Zhou is immoral and perverse. He spoils his concubines and kills loyal subjects. In terms of eloquence, Jiang Zia was as eloquent as anyone else. As the saying goes, the monarch is the ruler of his subjects. If the monarch is not righteous, his subjects will go to another country. If the monarch is not righteous, his subjects will attack him. Are you going to help the tyrant do evil? How dare you? All the land in the world belongs to the monarch, and all the people belong to the monarch. If the monarch wants the subjects to die, the subjects have to die. How dare you talk so shamelessly? Although Wen Zhong knew that King Zhou was immoral and was very disappointed with many of his behaviors, it didn't mean that he could accept Jiang Zia's words. In his opinion, King Zhou was good. The reason why he was in such a situation was that evil concubines and treacherous courtiers created chaos. As for Jiang Zia and the others, they had long planned and harbored evil intentions. 1,000 cups of wine was not enough when they met each other, but half a sentence was too much when they didn't get along. After saying that, Wen Zhong directly started to attack. He urged the Black Qilin to attack Jiang Zia with the male and female whips. Don't use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. Prime Minister, let me fight with him. Facing Wen Zhong's attack, Jiang Zia originally wanted to fight in person. After all, soldiers would fight soldiers, and generals would fight generals. Although he knew that his cultivation was not as good as Wenzhong's, he was not afraid of Wenzhong at all with the help of the Yushu apricot flag. If Wenzhong dared to lower his guard and underestimate him, his deity, striking whip, might be able to accomplish something again. However, before he took action, Huang Tianhua beside him took action. West Qi broke the encirclement of Zhaoge twice in succession, killing 2 generals, Zhang Guifang and Qiu Yin, as well as many masters, including the 4 sages of the Great 9 Dragons and the 4 generals of the Mo family. The others were fine, but young disciples like Huang Tianhua could not help but feel proud and superior, thinking that Chaoge was nothing special. As it turned out, Huang Tianhua still had the credit of killing the 4 generals of the Mo family on the trajectory, but he did not have any credit now. As a result, in his eagerness to earn some merit, he directly left the group. Huang Tianhua, the eldest son of Huang Feihu, the disciple of Qingfeng Mountain's Purple Sun Cave's Lord Qingshu Daod, and the future righteous god of the 3 mountains, Duke Bingling. Although they were all disciples of Jie School and the 3rd generation of Chan School. In terms of cultivation base, Huang Tianhua was just an earth immortal, and it was only through accelerated cultivation. Wenzhong, on the other hand, was a veteran heaven immortal. If he had not been stuck in the mortal world for so long, he would have made a breakthrough long ago. In terms of status, Wenzhong was not inferior to some 2nd-generation intersect disciples in the Jie School. Even people like Zhao Gongming would give him face. Huang Tianhua was merely a disciple that the Lord of Tao and Qing Su had accepted for the sake of transcending the tribulation. In terms of experience, Wenzhong was a veteran, while Huang Tianhua was a greenhorn. The only thing that Huang Tianhua could compare to Wenzhong was the Dharma treasure in his hand. When he went down the mountain, the Lord of Tao and Qing Su gave him the treasure of the sect, Mo Xie, because he felt guilty. A newborn calf was not afraid of tiger. At this moment, Huang Tianhua did not take Wenzhong seriously at all. He urged the Jade Qilin to go straight to Wenzhong, waving a pair of golden melon hammers and shouting, "Wenzhong, give me your life! Jiangxia, how dare you bully me?" Seeing this, Wenzhong was immediately enraged. His beard and hair stood on end. "What young kid? You don't know your place. I'll teach you a lesson today." Wenzhong sneered and took out the male and female whips in his hands. They turned into 2 dragons and lashed at Huang Tianhua with lightning speed. The female and male whips were treasures that the goddess of golden spirit had refined by imitating the Grand Master of Heaven's golden serpent scissors. She had captured a pair of male and female serpent dragons and refined them from their corpses. Although it was not as good as the golden serpent scissors due to cultivation, materials, and other reasons, it was still quite impressive. It was definitely not inferior to the Qingyun sword in the hands of the 4 generals of the Mo family. It had accompanied Wenzhong in battles and made many contributions. Huang Tianhua's cultivation was not as good as Wenzhong's, and his experience was world apart. He even underestimated Wenzhong, so he was sent flying by Wenzhong. If he had not subconsciously blocked it with the golden melon hammers, he would have been on the investiture of the gods with that whip. "Prime Minister, let me go and meet him." Just when Jiangxia was about to attack again, he was interrupted again. He turned around and saw that it was Fang Qingshan. His slightly angry face was immediately filled with a smile. "Your Highness, be careful." Fang Qingshan nodded. He urged the ferocious mount to charge out with the all-heaven sword in hand. He had just undergone his tribulation as an independent cultivator, so he was itching for more. He wanted to use Wenzhong as a whetstone to test his current cultivation. Another one who wants to die. When Wenzhong saw how young Fang Qingshan was, and that his cultivation was not as great as Huang Tianhua's, his lips immediately curled into a smile. Raising his hand, the male and female whips charged towards Fang Qingshan with a sharp gust of wind. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, and dragon roars rang out. One black and one white, they intersected like yin and yang. Perfect! Fang Qingshan's eyes immediately lit up when he saw this. He raised the all-heaven sword in his hand, and it was like a rising sun. The resplendent light made the world pale in comparison. Bang! The sword and the whips clashed. It was like a clap of thunder on a sunny day, but they were evenly matched. Firstly, Wen Zhong did not use his full strength. Secondly, although Fang Qingshan's cultivation was low, his battle prowess was not. Wen Zhong obviously did not expect that Fang Qingshan would be evenly matched with him. He raised his white eyebrows, and the male and female whips attacked again. He changed the incantation gesture in his hand, and the whole space suddenly fluctuated as if the four seas were tumbling and the male and female dragons were overturning the seas. Seeing this, the all-heaven sword in Fang Qingshan's hand shook and turned into a three-legged golden crow. The golden crow descended from the west and bathed in the East Sea. Clang, clang, clang. The dragon roar and the sword roar intertwined, and the sound of metal colliding was magnificent. If the ordinary soldiers were not protected by the four heavenly lords in Jiangxia, they would have been affected. They have met their match, and the general has met his talent. Fang Qingshan became more and more excited as the battle went on, while Wen Zhong became more and more depressed. Originally, he did not take Fang Qingshan seriously and only wanted to force Fang Qingshan to fight so that he could capture him in one fell swoop. He did not expect that the sudden appearance of Fang Qingshan was so deceptive. His cultivation was not high, but his battle prowess was really amazing. In terms of surprise, Fang Qingshan was also a veteran of hundreds of battles. In terms of Dharma power, he had the support of the world tree and the innate small world. In terms of divine sense, the pure yang sword skill was already extraordinary. Coupled with years of understanding, he could use one sword to create thousands of methods. Especially after the Tribulation Transcendence, the gift from Hongjun Tiandao had made his sword Dao go further. In terms of Dharma treasures, although the all-heaven sword was not as good as the male and female whips, it was not bad. The only thing he was weak in was his realm. However, this was no longer enough to affect the outcome of the battle. Chapter 444. Who is this person? He's just an itinerant cultivator, yet he can fight with Taoist Wen Zhong to this extent. It's unbelievable. That's right. Is he a seed disciple of the Chan school? But his swordsmanship seems to be from the Ren school. They saw that Fang Qingshan, a mere itinerant immortal, was on par with Wen Zhong. Not to mention Wen Zhong. Even the 10 heavenly lords couldn't believe it. Although it was not rare to challenge someone at a higher level, it usually happened when one's cultivation level was very low, or between a disciple of a famous sect and an itinerant cultivator. Wen Zhong was the direct disciple of the third generation of the Jie school. His cultivation level was much higher than Fang Qingshan's, yet he was forced to this extent by Fang Qingshan. How could the 10 heavenly lords not be shocked? They secretly guessed that Fang Qingshan was an elite disciple that the Chan school had secretly trained and deliberately came to humiliate the Jie school. For a moment, everyone's faces didn't look good. Ever since the ancient Magi Demon War, the celestial sect of desolation had been the most powerful. The celestial sect of wonders was divided into 3 sects: Ren, Chan, and Jie. The Ren school respected Laozi's quietness and inaction. They didn't seem to have any sense of existence. The Chan school was particular about obeying the heavens and the people, but the Jie school wanted to go against the heavens and change their fate. That basically determined the conflict between the 2 sections. In addition, the Chan school took the elite route, while the Jie school taught everyone without discrimination. As a result, although the 2 sects came from the same source, they were almost like fire and water. However, with the saints suppressing them in the past, everyone restrained themselves. Now that they were in the Great Tribulation, they couldn't care less. Seeing that the Jie school was suppressed by the Chan school, how could the 10 heavenly lords be happy? Fortunately, they didn't know Fang Qingshan's identity, but someone else did. Uncle Masters, this is not a member of the Chan school. At this moment, Wen Zhong's disciple, Ji Li, received the report from his subordinate and hurriedly explained. I heard that this person was born as an itinerant cultivator and has no background. He was only conferred the title of King of Shichi because he saved Ji Chong and is skilled in both literature and martial arts. I heard that the 4 saints of Nine Dragons Island and the 4 generals of the Mo family died because of him. However, the moment he said that, the expressions of the 10 heavenly lords and the others became even uglier. His face was so gloomy that it seemed like it was about to drip water. If Fang Qingshan was a member of the Chanism, although they were unwilling to believe it, they were still willing to accept the fact. After all, the red flowers, white lotus roots, and green lotus leaves were originally one family. It was either the east wind suppressing the west wind or the west wind suppressing the east wind. But now, what did Geely tell them? Fang Qingshan was actually just an itinerant cultivator. A mere itinerant cultivator had actually suppressed the direct disciple of Jieskul. If word of this got out, Jieskul would probably become a laughingstock. As disciples of famous sects, they didn't even look up to the disciples of the Western sages, let alone rogue cultivators. Now, they were actually slapped in the face by the itinerant cultivators. The 10 heavenly lords looked at each other, and a cold light flashed in their eyes, filling the entire space with a trace of biting cold. Not to mention the 10 lords of heaven. Even the people of West Qi didn't expect that Fang Qingshan could fight against a veteran heaven immortal after going through the heavenly tribulation once. He's the benefactor after all. In the past, I thought he was referring to military strategies, but I didn't expect his combat power to be so strong. That's right, that's Grand Tutorwin. The reason why the Shang dynasty can still stand is because he's the pillar that supports the heavens. Our West Qi has the prime minister outside and the benefactor inside. It's really a blessing from the heavens. Let's ignore the thoughts of the onlookers and talk about the battlefield. As time passed, Fang Qingshan went from being beaten passively at the beginning to attacking and defending. Now he actually began to counterattack. What about Wen Zhong? Now, he was actually suppressed by Fang Qingshan in all aspects. It wasn't that he couldn't use his muscles and bones, but that his Dharma powers couldn't keep up. Fang Qingshan had the World Tree and the Khanate Small World, but Wen Zhong didn't. It's past noon. Let's call it a day. We'll fight again another day. Wen Zhong picked a gap and pushed aside the all-heaven swords. He urged the Black Qilin to retreat far away and return to the West Qi camp. If the fight continued, he wouldn't be able to hold on. Where did this monster come from? How preposterous. Wen Zhong looked at Fang Qingshan with a complicated expression. The new generation would replace the old, and the new generation would replace the old. Brother Wen, we can't let the benefactor live. Putting aside the fact that Fang Qingshan returned to West Qi after a hearty battle and was congratulated by everyone, the 10 heavenly lords said to Wen Zhong with a serious face after he withdrew his troops and returned to the camp. The benefactor? Wen Zhong frowned. He knew this person. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. He knew some of the important figures in West Qi. He heard that before Ji Chong died, he specially instructed GFA to ask Jiang Shang about external affairs and the benefactor about internal affairs. This person had an important position in West Qi. However, how did this person offend the 10 heavenly lords and make them want to kill him? Seeing Wen Zhong's puzzled expression, Heavenly Lord Qin couldn't help but explain. The person who fought with you today is the benefactor of West Qi. What? It's him. Wen Zhong, who was racking his brains to figure out what was going on, was shocked when he heard this. His eyes widened and his face was full of disbelief. Like the 10 heavenly lords and the others, Wen Zhong also thought that Fang Qingshan was a secret disciple specially cultivated by the clan of enlightenment and was a third-generation disciple. Therefore, even though his cultivation was higher than Fang Qingshan's and he almost showed his fear, he could only sigh that the waves before him died on the beach. However, he didn't expect that Fang Qingshan was just an itinerant cultivator. This was amazing. No wonder Heavenly Lord Qin said that Fang Qingshan couldn't be kept alive. Even if he wasn't a disciple of a saint, it would be good if he was a disciple of an ancient mighty. Unfortunately, He was an itinerant cultivator with no background at all. This matter was not only related to Wen Zhong's reputation, but also the reputation of the Jie school and the Grand Master of Heaven. To a saint, nothing else mattered except for three things. The first was luck, the second was inheritance, and the third was face. If the Grand Master of Heaven's reputation was ruined, because of him, he would be guilty even if he died 10,000 times. "What are you going to do, fellow Taoist Qin?" Wen Zhong asked with a serious face. "This is simple. After I set up the desolate array, his soul will be destroyed within 7 days." It was Yao Bin, the master of the fallen soul array, who spoke. In the original plan, the 10 heavenly lords were going to use the desolate array to hook Jiang Ziya's soul. After all, he was not only a disciple of the clan of enlightenment, but also one of the most important people in West Qi. Most importantly, he had the flying bear dream and was one of the core figures of the great God-confirmant tribulation. As long as he was killed, things would be completely different. However, there were priorities. The most important thing now was to protect the reputation of the Jie school. Moreover, Fang Qingshan was the benefactor of West Qi, who was also of high status and power. It was not a big deal to kill him. Chapter 445. Since when Zhong failed to defeat Fang Qingshan, no one had sent troops to challenge him. For a moment, Jiang Ziya and the others did not let their guard down. Instead, they felt that something was wrong. There must be something wrong. Everyone could not help but be on guard. While guarding against sneak attacks, they also sent people to find out what was going on with Wen Zhong and the others. However, before long, Fang Qingshan and the others suddenly trembled. They felt the black gas between their eyebrows, as if a great disaster was coming. They hurried to the city wall of West Qi and looked at Zhaoge camp, only to find that the murderous intent was surging like clouds. The gloomy clouds were gathering for thousands of miles. Looking at it from afar, they felt like they were hallucinating. What an evil formation! When they saw this scene, how could the others not know that Wen Zhong and the others had brought out their trump cards? Last time, because Fang Qingshan had caught them off guard, neither the 4 sages of 9 Dragons Island nor the 4 generals of the demon family had the time to set up the formation before they were defeated. This time, Wen Zhong and the others came prepared. Judging from a situation of the formation, it was not an ordinary yin-yang formation or a 5 elements 8 trigrams formation. Others might not know, but how could Fang Qingshan not know? This is the 10 ultimate formation. 10 ultimate formation? When the others were at a loss, they suddenly heard Fang Qingshan's solemn words. They were overjoyed and asked hurriedly. Although the Jie school and the Chan school came from the same Xianmen, they each had some secret techniques. The Jie school was famous for its formations. The 10 ultimate formation and the Yellow River of 9 tunes were secret formations. Except for the people of the Jie school, few outsiders knew about them. After all, the 10 ultimate formation was not like the immortal slaying sword formation or the innumerable immortal formation. It was not famous before the War of the Gods investiture. Therefore, it was reasonable that Jiang Ziya and the others did not know about it. After all, although they were also from the big sects, they did not know many secrets. The 10 ultimate formation is a secret formation of the Jie school. In terms of power, it can probably be ranked in the top 10. Even in the whole desolation, it can be regarded as a top formation. Seeing everyone looking at him, Fang Qingshan explained slowly. Hearing this, Jiang Ziya and the others were shocked. Putting aside the fact that the 10 ultimate arrays could be ranked among the top 10 arrays of the Jie school, just the fact that it could be ranked among the top arrays in the entire desolation made them look at it in a new light. One had to know that in the entire desolation, other than the 3 peerless spell arrays, the immortal slaying sword array, the Jot Eon star array, and the 12 divine fiends array, there were 3 peerless spell arrays in the entire desolation. As long as it could be ranked as a top-notch formation, which one of them was not a sect-protecting formation. The Ren school's Yin and Yang dust sword array, the Buddhist sect's Bodhi array, the Dragon tribe's 10,000 dragons facing the heavens, the Phoenix tribe's 100 years paying homage to the Phoenix, the Azura tribe's Blood Sea array, Jin Yuanzi's Earth Book array, the heavenly court's 33 heavens array, and so on. Although formations of the same level had differences in strength, it was not easy to enter this rank. After a pause, Fang Qingshan continued. The 10 ultimate formations have a total of 10 formations. They are the Heaven Ultimate Formation, the Earth Ardent Formation, the Wind Howling Formation, the Ice Formation, the Golden Light Formation, the Blood Dissolving Formation, the Blazing Flame Formation, the Fallen Soul Formation, the Red Water Formation, and the Red Sand Formation. Each of the 10 Heavenly Lords is in charge of one formation. If the 10 formations can be combined into one and become the true 10 ultimate formations, I'm afraid that even Grand Luo and Demi-Saints would be in danger of dying inside. Hearing that, Jiang Ziya and the others could not help but turn pale. After all, the most powerful of the 12 golden immortals of the Chan school was only a Grand Luo. Of course, judging from the state of their formation and the cultivation base of the 10 heavenly lords, it's clear that they haven't reached that level yet. Seeing that Jiang Ziya and the others seemed to be frightened, Fang Qingshan quickly comforted them. As long as we find the right method, it shouldn't be difficult to break the formation. Hearing Fang Qingshan's words, the others finally breathed a sigh of relief, even though they were not completely at ease. If the 10 ultimate formations were truly mastered, even the 12 golden immortals of the Chan school would have to kneel, let alone them. What was the point of fighting then? They could just admit defeat. What they did not know was that while the 10 ultimate formations did not make them kneel, the 9 Bends Yellow River formation that followed almost wiped them out in one fell swoop, forcing the primeval Lord of Heaven to bully the weak and personally take action. As for the Fallen Soul formation, since he had made up his mind to kill Fang Qingshan, Yao Tianjun naturally would not show any mercy. The Fallen Soul formation closes the life gate and opens the death gate. It contains the fierce qi of the world and condenses it. There's a piece of white paper with runes drawn on it. If an immortal were to enter the formation, the white banner would flutter and the soul would dissipate. Immortals and immortals alike would perish as soon as they enter. Black qi is born when the white paper is shaken, and the wonderful technique penetrates the void. I never believed that the body of an immortal would collapse after entering the formation. In the Fallen Soul formation, Yao Tianjun ascended the altar and placed the incense table. In the middle was a scarecrow with the name of Fang Qingshan written on it. It contained Fang Qingshan's aura, and no one knew where it came from. There was a lamp on the scarecrow's head, 1 on each shoulder and 7 under its feet, representing Fang Qingshan's 3 souls and 7 spirits. Then, Yao Tianjuan's hair was disheveled, and he held a peach-wood sword in his hand. He was chanting and performing the 7-star steps. From time to time, he would bow to the scarecrow. For a moment, the 10 lamps on the scarecrow seemed to be blown by the wind, swaying and flickering. In Shichi City, ever since Fang Qingshan knew that the 10 heavenly lords had set up the 10 ultimate formations, he had been carefully guarding against Jiang Ziya. However, after following him for several days, nothing happened to Jiang Ziya. On the contrary, he was a little restless and absent-minded. Could it be that they have other plans? Fang Qingshan did not expect that he would be taken care of and suffer for Jiang Ziya. Fortunately, he was different from Jiang Ziya. In the beginning, he did not find anything wrong. But as time went by, Fang Qingshan felt that something was wrong without others' reminders. His soul was infatuated, he was restless, he was distraught all day long, and his soul was in a trance. Not to mention that the All-Heaven chessboard had started to warn him. It was not that the All-Heaven chessboard was more powerful than the virtual Jade Apricot flag. It was because the virtual Jade Apricot flag was not Jiang Ziya's treasure. He was just borrowing it. Moreover, although the virtual Jade Apricot flag was a treasure for protection, it was not a treasure for soul protection. However, the celestial chessboard was different. He shared weal and woe with Fang Qingshan. They shared weal and woe. More importantly, the All-Heaven chessboard was a treasure for luck, so it was especially vigilant about the changes of luck. Yao Tianjun wanted to use the fallen soul formation to take away Fang Qingshan's soul. Worshipping the scarecrow was ruining his luck. How could it not alarm the all-heaven chessboard? Damn it! Thinking that he had fallen into the trap unknowingly, Fang Qingshan could not help but be furious. At the same time, he was vigilant. He had to break the formation as soon as possible. Otherwise, not to mention whether he could take away his soul, just the ruining of his luck was enough to cut off Fang Qingshan's flesh. Chapter 446. What? Your Majesty, you were plotted against? Damn it, who did it? I'm going to kill him now. How could this be? What a powerful method. No one knew it. If your Majesty hadn't reminded us, I'm afraid we wouldn't have found it. When we found it, I'm afraid. After Fang Qingshan knew that he was plotted against by Yao Tianjun, although he didn't know why Yao Tianjun wanted to kill him, he was not Jiangxia. Even if his soul was taken away, someone would bring it back for him. Moreover, he was not a passive person. Knowing that someone plotted against him, it was not in his nature to not break the plot and take revenge. However, he also knew that he and Xiongqi were a little weak, so he summoned all the people of Shiqi and told them about his experience. Everyone was shocked and angry, and they were alarmed. Fang Qingshan had proved his value in several counter-encirclement wars. Looking at the whole Shiqi, he could probably be ranked in the top 5. If he died, it would be a great loss for Shiqi. It would make the people close to him suffer and the enemies happy. More importantly, since he could plot against Fang Qingshan today, he could plot against them in the future. Not everyone had the means like Fang Qingshan, who could defend and foresee. Once they were hit, wouldn't they fall asleep unknowingly? Thinking of this, everyone could not help but feel the same hatred. Your Majesty, what should we do now? Do you want us to break the desolate formation? Why don't we launch a sudden attack tonight and catch them all in one fell swoop? Child, let me sneak into Zhaoga camp and assassinate Yao Tianjun. For a moment, everyone could not help but offer advice, and the crowd was excited. Seeing the morale, Fang Qingshan could not help but nod with satisfaction. The desolate formation is a scourge, and we need to get rid of it in one fell swoop. Otherwise, there will be endless troubles. However, to break the desolate formation, we first have to face Wenzhong and the other 9 Lords of Heaven. Therefore, what we need to do now is to work on multiple fronts. We need to repair the plank road in the open and move the hidden path in the dark. What should we do? Jiangxia asked. First of all, we have to create chaos so that they will be caught unprepared. Fang Qingshan said carefully. So, tonight, we can launch a sudden all-out attack and attack Zhaoga camp. That's not a problem. Jiangxia was in charge of the army, so he agreed without hesitation. Attacking Wenzhong and the others is not the goal. The key is to stop them. The key is to stop them. We can't let them support Yao Tianjun, otherwise everything will be in vain. Hearing this, the crowd could not help but frown. Even without the 10 Shun, the 10 Lords of the 10 Heavens, the 10 Lords of the Formation. Majesty, they won Chun, they chun, they chun, they. Seeing that everyone was silent, the atmosphere suddenly became awkward. Fang Qingshan suddenly chuckled. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Since Fang Qingshan had said so, he must have a way to solve the problem. Immediately, everyone turned to look at him. Prime Minister, it's up to you. Fang Qingshan said calmly. Up to me. Hearing this, Jiangxia was stunned. Although he thought he was extraordinary, he, after all, knew that one man could defeat 10 men. The cultivation of the 10 Lords of Heaven and Wenzhong was much higher than his. He, on his own, would not be able to stop them. Prime Minister, have you forgotten your treasures? Fang Qingshan could not help but remind Jiangxia when he saw his confused look. Yushu apricot flag, God whipping whip. Speaking of this, Jiangxia suddenly understood. Fang Qingshan nodded. Yushu apricot flag, transformed from the lotus leaf of the green lotus of creation, is a top-notch Khanate spiritual treasure with unparalleled defense. Even sages can use it. Prime Minister, although you've only refined it initially, with this treasure, the 10 lords of heaven won't be able to break it without a powerful Dharma treasure. Besides, the God-whipping whip is also a top-notch Khanate spiritual treasure. It's especially effective against famous people on the list of gods. It's like a natural enemy that restrains them. With these two treasures, why should we worry about not being able to stop them? Besides, we just need to stall for time. We don't need to win, kill, or capture them. Phew! Hearing what Fang Qingshan said, the crowd could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. That was good. Then who's going to break the Desolate Formation? After the interception mission was completed, the Desolate Formation was another key. Not only did they have to face Yao Tianjun, but they also had to go deep into the tiger's den. In the original trajectory, after Jiang Ziya was hit, Qi Jingzi risked his life alone and went to the Desolate Formation to snatch Jiang Ziya's soul. In the end, he returned in failure. Who was Qi Jingzi? He was one of the 12 golden immortals of Chan School. Although he could not compare to Guang Chengzi in perfected Tai, he had a cultivation level at the peak of the primordial unity realm. He even had a superior grade Khanate spiritual treasure, the yin-yang mirror, and a defensive treasure, the 8 trigrams purple ribbon immortal robe. Even so, he was covered in dust. If it were anyone else, it would be a problem for them to escape unscathed, let alone snatch the scarecrow. Hence, everyone could not help but fall silent. In fact, there was one person there who was also powerful. Even if he could not snatch the scarecrow, he could still escape unscathed. That person was Jiang Ziya's current mount, the 4 odd beasts. He was a great demon sage who had survived the ancient Great Magi Demon War. His cultivation level had already reached the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal level. He was also a sage's mount. So how could he not have treasures? If he went, he would probably get twice the result with half the effort. Unfortunately, the 4 odd beasts were the mounts of the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning. Not to mention Fang Qingshan. Even Jiang Ziya could not order him around. Although he followed Jiang Ziya, he would not make a move unless it was a matter of life and death. It turned out that in the original trajectory, in order to break the Desolate Formation, Qi Jingzi had specially made a trip to the Great Red Sky and borrowed his Khanate cardinal treasure, the Tai Chi painting. However, the one who was hit was Fang Qingshan. Obviously, he did not have the face to do so. For a moment, they could not help but fall into a stalemate again. Don't worry, everyone. This matter started because of me, so I naturally have to break the formation. Seeing this, Fang Qingshan could not help but laugh. Your Majesty, young master. Hearing what Fang Qingshan said, Jiang Ziya and the others opened their mouths and wanted to say something, but when the words were at the tip of their tongues, they could not say anything. At this juncture, Fang Qingshan was indeed the most suitable candidate. The others had to intercept when Zhong and the others. Moreover, his combat power was the highest, and it was a matter of life and death. Who else but him? Chapter 447. Just as Fang Qingshan and the others were planning to deceive everyone and divert their attention, in the Desolate Formation, Yao Tianjun began to doubt his life. Generally speaking, any scarecrow that he worshipped would vanish in 7 days unless it was the kind of person who was destined by the heavens. At the very least, it would attract a few souls. Take Jiang Ziya, for example. He was a person destined by the heavens, but his soul still left his body after being ambushed by the Desolate Formation. However, it was completely different for Fang Qingshan. No matter how he worshipped, the life lamps on Fang Qingshan's body that represented the 3 souls and 7 spirits flickered fiercely, but they were not extinguished. As long as they were not extinguished, it meant that it was impossible to attract Fang Qingshan's soul. Yao Tianjun had never encountered such a situation before. One must know that the power of the Desolate Formation was definitely not inferior to Liu Ye's Nailhead 7 Arrows book. Otherwise, there was no need to specifically use the Taiji diagram to break the formation. Although there might be other reasons, one could not deny its sharpness. The Nailhead 7 Arrows book had killed Zhao Gongming, who was in the Zenith Heaven realm, without a sound. Yet, The desolate formation could not do anything to Fang Qingshan, who was worlds apart from Zhao Gongming. How could Yao Tianjun not suspect that there was something wrong with his formation? In fact, the main reason for this was the All-Heaven chessboard. Although the All-Heaven chessboard was inferior to the Jade Void Apricot Yellow Flag and the Oceanic Divine Pearl, it was different from the other two treasures. However, it was different from the other two treasures in that it was a fortune treasure. As for unorthodox techniques like the Desolate Formation and the Nailhead Seven Arrows book, they were the worst at destroying providence. The most powerful one was to corrupt one's luck. Once one's luck declined to a certain point, it would be abandoned by the heavens, and it would be at their mercy. Unfortunately, treasures of providence were treasures of providence because they were best at suppressing providence. Therefore, although the Desolate Formation was destroying Fang Qingshan's providence, it was depleting at the speed of a tortoise. If the All-Heaven chessboard, the Taiji diagram, and the Easter Emperor Bell were of the same grade, the effect of suppressing a large sect would not be any weaker than theirs. In fact, it might even be stronger. Not to mention ruining the Desolate Formation's luck, it would already be good if it did not suffer a backlash. Therefore, even though Yao Tianjun had prayed for a few days, he had only consumed a portion of Fang Qingshan's providence. He hadn't been harmed in the slightest. Damn it, I don't believe it. Yao Tianjun's hair was disheveled, his cheekbones were prominent, and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked insane. The reason why the unorthodox path was not considered orthodox was because of the backlash and the huge price they had to pay. This was also the reason why Immortal Luya didn't do it himself when he was plotting against Zhao Gongming. Instead, he let Jiang Ziya handle the Seven Arrows book. The Luo formation was the same. Even though its power was extraordinary, activating it also required Yao Tianjun's life force and karmic luck. The greater the power of the formation, the more things it would consume. This was a process of complementing each other. Yao Tianjun watched as he prayed for a few days to no avail, be it to give Wen Zhong and the others an explanation or for his own pride. He decided to increase the output and teach Fang Qingshan a lesson. At the same time, what was unexpected was that the activation of the Luo formation did not alarm the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning and the others because it was not targeted at Jiang Ziya. However, it unexpectedly alarmed another person, the Heavenly Lord of Tao and Virtue. In the Xuandu Cave of the Great Red Sky, Laozi, who was cultivating, suddenly woke up from the Great Tao and summoned his only direct disciple, the great Taoist Master Xiandu. Greetings, teacher. What instructions do you have for me? The great Taoist Master Xiandu looked at him in confusion. To the great Taoist Master Xiandu, there were only a few times that he would look for him, and that was in the ancient times. From the ancient times until now, he did not know how much time had passed. Apart from preaching to him on a daily basis, Laozi had never looked for him or instructed him anything. However, he did not know what major event would happen this time. Laozi nodded and took out a scroll. It was in the color of chaos and yin-yang, and it was filled with the mysteries of the great Tao. Although it had not been unfolded, Xiandu recognized it at a glance. It was the treasure of Ren's school, the Khanate Taiji painting. That treasure and the postnatal merit treasure, the mysterious yellow pagoda, suppressed the destiny of Ren's school together and could not be used easily. However, he did not know why Laozi took it out this time. Xiandu did not ask. He knew that if Laozi wanted to tell him something, he would naturally say it. If he did not say it, he would not know. Not only did Xiandu obtain the true teachings of Laozi during his cultivation, but he had also learned the inaction temperament. Indeed, Laozi said, "The great tribulation has begun. The great calamity has begun, and the three sects are all in it. Even though you have my protection, you are no exception. In addition, my supreme treasure is also in danger and needs to pass the calamity. This is all fate. Take the Taiji diagram and go to West Qi." Laozi said calmly. "Yes, I understand." When Xiandu heard that, he did not ask why. He took the Taiji painting and turned around to leave the great red sky towards West Qi. Be it Chaoga of West Qi or Jiechan school. None of them knew about that. In fact, the reason why Laozi was alarmed was because he had said that the Khanate cardinal treasure, the Taiji painting, would face a calamity and need to be trained. In addition, the Great Tribulation was originally because the disciples of the three sects did not listen to the Jade Emperor's orders. As a result, the heavenly courts could not operate perfectly, causing the Great Tribulation. Although it was mainly because of Jie school and Chan school, the three sects were originally one family, and Rin school could not escape responsibility. Because Laozi of Rin school only had one disciple, he let his good corpse replace Xian Du on the list. However, even so, Xian Du still needed to go to the mortal world. That would be perfect. As for the last reason, it was because of Fang Qingshan. Although he did not become Laozi's disciple, he had learned the core mystical ability of Rin school, Sanqing. In addition, he had obtained the pure Yang sword technique, which was also a direct Dao technique of Rin school. Therefore, in the eyes of outsiders, Fang Qingshan was a disciple of Rin school, although no one knew about it yet. What would happen if he revealed his three pure one's divine ability? Now, the 10 heavenly lords thought that Fang Qingshan was a pushover that could be pinched at will. However, in the future, when others found out that Fang Qingshan was a member of Rin school, they would not say that he was bullying the weak or that he was outnumbered. They would only say that Rin school was inferior to Jie school. How could that be? Wouldn't that be slapping me and Rin school in the face? Therefore, although Qi Jingzi did not go to the heavens to borrow treasures, I still asked Xian Du to take the Taiji painting down the mountain in advance. Anyway, it was on the way. Why not? On the other side of West Qi. It was night, and the wind was strong. There were no moon or stars in the sky. It was pitch black, but it was the best time to launch a sneak attack. Jiang Zia and the others let their subordinates have a meal early in the morning and rested well. Then they quietly left the city of Shiqi, came to the encampment of the Shang dynasty, and launched a fierce attack. Chapter 448. It wasn't that they didn't want to sneak in and launch a sneak attack. However, Wen Zhong's defenses were extremely tight. It was already very good for him to be able to get close to the main camp. It was absolutely impossible for him to sneak in without anyone noticing. Once he overreached himself, the losses would probably outweigh the gains. In the main camp, the bonfire was brightly lit. Wen Zhong, Heavenly Lord Qin, and the others hadn't rested yet. They were really worried. It had been so many days since Yao Tianjun used the abject technique, but there was still no news from West Qi. It was as if nothing had happened. How could they not be worried? Brothers, what do you think? Wen Zhong thought for a while and was about to say something. Suddenly, the sound of horse hooves could be heard, and the whole camp seemed to be in an uproar. Oh no, West Qi's sneak attack. Without much time to think, Wen Zhong immediately ran out. Seeing this, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others also followed. However, as soon as they came out of the main camp, they bumped into Jiang Zia and the others. Damn your brother, Jiang Zia. I haven't attacked you yet, but you dared to come here. Today, you won't be able to leave. When enemies met, their eyes turned red. When Wen Zhong saw Jiang Zia, he immediately shouted angrily and lashed out with the male and female whips in his hands. You're all talk and no action. Let's see if the Grand Tutor has the ability to do so. Jiang Zia wasn't angry. He just waved his hand and released the Yushu apricot flag, sprinkling thousands of golden lotuses to protect himself and the others, blocking Heavenly Lord Qin and the others at the door. Open your mouth and brag like a toad. Hearing Jiang Zia's words, the 10 heavenly lords were instantly enraged. Kill. After Wen Zhong's male and female whips, although the 10 heavenly lords didn't have any supreme treasures, they also performed their best divine skills. The goddess of golden light sprinkled a wave of golden light like a rain of swords. Bai Tianjun opened his mouth and spat out a wave of flames, which turned into 9 giant dragons. Dong Tianjun shook his sleeves, and the mountains roared and the earth darkened. The wind swept in all directions. Heavenly Lord Yuan's eyes flickered, and 1,000 miles of ice and snow fell for thousands of miles. There were also Heavenly Lord Qin, Heavenly Lord Zhao, Heavenly Lord Sun, Heavenly Lord Wang, and Heavenly Lord Zhang. For a moment, a boundless sea of blood, torrential red water, and boundless red sand all attacked Jiang and the others. However, it was of no use. Huang Tianhua, Neza, and the others stood behind Jiang with their hands on his back. Their mana surged into Jiang body and was then released into the jade virtual apricot flag. For a moment, the virtual jade apricot flag emitted layers of light. Thick earth attribute Yuan Qi was tumbling, evolving into apricot-colored lotus flowers that were vivid and lifelike, as if they were real. The fallen petals were in profusion, swaying gracefully. The fragrance was strong and intoxicating, yet it also gave one a feeling of being as heavy as a mountain. Every single one of them was extremely clear and condensed, as if they were real. In an instant, a sea of lotuses appeared in front of the central tent. With Jiang cultivation level, he could barely activate the jade virtual apricot flag to protect himself. However, with the mana from Qiangqi and the others, he was finally able to unleash a little bit of the power of this connate spiritual treasure, blocking the 10 heavenly lords and the others from entering the central tent. They couldn't even control the army, let alone the array formation. Ding, ding, ding. Divine powers rained down on Jiang and the others, but they didn't retaliate. Instead, they activated the apricot flag with all their might, blocking the attacks outside of the lotuses. They were perfected immortals and heaven immortals, after all, so their dharma treasures and divine powers were not to be underestimated. However, they could only break a few lotuses at most. In just a few breaths, the broken lotuses fell from the flag and recovered quickly. There were no visible signs of damage. There were only 2 ways to break the defense of the jade virtual apricot flag. The first was that the host didn't have enough mana and couldn't hold on. The second was to break the flag with brute force. Obviously, neither of the 2 methods were of any help to the 10 heavenly lords. Jiang and the others naturally wouldn't just take the beatings without fighting back. Seeing that the situation was gradually stabilizing and that when Zhong and the others couldn't cause any harm to them, Jiang and the others were relieved. Jiang and the others felt relieved and threw the god striking whip out. The god-beating whip was indeed the nemesis and natural enemy of the famous people on the list of deification. Although the 10 heavenly lords and when Zhong weren't on the list yet, they were completely suppressed by it. As soon as the god-beating whip was thrown out, the 10 of them seemed to have been hit in the head. They either performed the wrong hand gesture or their mana wasn't strong enough. There was either something wrong here or there. If it wasn't for one Zhong's experience, the 10 heavenly lords would probably follow the footsteps of the 4 generals of the demon clan. Even so, the 10 of them were still in a panic. Regardless of what happened to them, Fang Qingshan had already arrived in front of the Luo formation. Using the Great Concealment Technique and the Void Escape Technique, he stealthily sneaked in. It was naturally for the best if he could destroy the scarecrow silently and break Yao Tianjun's technique. After all, Yao Tianjun was the host of the Luo formation. He had the geographical advantage. Moreover, he was a perfected immortal. Even if his experience and treasures weren't as good as when Zhong's, his battle prowess was about the same. Fang Qingshan couldn't take him down at all. He could only catch him off guard. Unfortunately, the reality wasn't as good as one's imagination. Although Fang Qingshan used the great stealth technique, the space escape sword technique, and concealed his aura, it was useless. On the altar in the Luo formation, the scarecrow was still the same scarecrow. The 7 life lamps were still the same, but Yao Tianjun had turned into a ghost. His entire body was emaciated, as if a layer of human skin was draped over a skeleton. He was going all out in order to kill Fang Qingshan. Unfortunately, although Fang Qingshan was heartbroken, he was fine. Unless, of course, Yao Tianjun had really ruined his luck to the lowest point. However, when that happened, he probably wouldn't be far from dying. However, Fang Qingshan did not want to wait until then. Right now, the fate that he was losing every day was causing him so much pain that he wanted to vomit blood. It must be known that this was something that he had collected from dozens of worlds. If he waited until Yao Tianjun collapsed on his own, he would not be any better off. Although Yao Tianjun was wholeheartedly focused on worshipping the scarecrow, and Fang Qingshan's concealment technique was very powerful, they were in the desolate spirit array after all. Yao Tianjun knew everything that happened here like the back of his hand. It was fine if Fang Qingshan didn't have any bad intentions. He was about to snatch the scarecrow when he was discovered by Yao Tianjun. Buzz. Black smoke covered the sky and swept across the land. When the dust settled, the altar and Yao Tianjun had been moved to another place. How dare you? Who dares to break into my Luo formation? Yao Tianjun shouted. His eyes were like two balls of will-o-wisps as he stared at Fang Qingshan. Chapter 449. I'm Fang Qingshan. Nice to meet you, Yao Tianjun. Seeing that he was discovered, Fang Qingshan stopped hiding and showed himself. He cupped his hands at Yao Tianjun with a smile. It was as if he didn't know that Yao Tianjun was plotting against him. It's you? Seeing Fang Qingshan, Yao Tianjun was also surprised for a moment. Then he let out a weird laugh. There's a way to heaven, but you chose to go to hell. Ever since the 10 Lords of Heaven were given the 10 absolute formations by sect leader Tong Tian, they were naturally ecstatic at first. However, as time went by, this joy was gradually worn away. If they were not really obsessed with formations, they would have given up halfway. After all, people's energy was limited. Although the energy of ordinary people could not be mentioned in the same breath as that of immortal chi cultivators, there is a world of difference in the things they comprehended. Paying attention to one would naturally lose the other. When they were comprehending formations wholeheartedly, even the disciples of the younger generation almost caught up with them, let alone their senior and junior brothers who joined the Jie sect at the same time. How could they not be anxious? Fortunately, heaven did not disappoint those who worked hard. The 10 heavenly lords finally comprehended the 10 ultimate formation and mastered the 10 ultimate formation diagram. Therefore, when Zhong asked them to leave the mountain, they agreed without hesitation. It was not only because they were from the same sect, but also because they wanted to let the world see that their efforts were rewarded and they were not wasting their time. However, as soon as he came to Shiqi and volunteered to kill Fang Qingshan, he did not expect to be met with a blow. No matter how many spells or formations he used, he could only consume Fang Qingshan's karmic luck. He could do nothing to Fang Qingshan's soul, and even the speed at which he consumed Fang Qingshan's karmic luck was pitifully slow. Just when he was at his wit's end, Fang Qingshan actually barged into the desolate array. How could he not be overjoyed? He thought he knew Fang Qingshan very well. Although he only had the cultivation of an individual immortal, his fighting capacity was so strong that even the disciples of the big sects could not help but be amazed. Even when Zhong, a direct disciple of the 3rd generation of the Jie school, could not defeat him. That was also the reason why they shifted their target from Jiangxia to Fang Qingshan. However, no matter how extraordinary he was, once he entered his own formation, he would not be able to come out. After all, he was a true immortal, and he had the desolate formation. Yao Tianjun was confident that he could defeat even a gold immortal or a primordial immortal, not to mention a mere itinerant immortal like Fang Qingshan. Otherwise, he would be letting down the cultivation base that he had wasted all these years of painstaking effort in studying formations. Heavenly Lord, are you really so confident that you can take me down? Fang Qingshan was neither surprised nor angry when he heard this. He asked calmly, you are indeed extraordinary. If we were outside, I wouldn't dare say that I would be able to defeat Brother Wen. Naturally, I wouldn't be able to take you down. Yao Tianjun looked around the dispirited formation and said energetically, in the desolate formation, I am the emperor. My words are the law. I am in charge, and you all have to listen to my orders. You are an itinerant cultivator and have no idea about the methods of the disciples of the big sections. It's not your fault. How can a frog at the bottom of a well see beyond the clouds? At this point, Yao Tianjun said proudly. In his mind, Fong Qingshan was already a turtle in a jar, and it was up to his mood to capture him. Now that he was released, he did not care that the duck that was already in his mouth could fly away. Oh, is that so? If you were a direct disciple of the GS school, I might believe you. But you are just an outer disciple. How dare you be so arrogant? Fong Qingshan pursed his lips, pretending that he did not believe him. Secretly, he had been performing the Little Destiny spell and the Void Escape technique, trying to find the flaws of the 10-terminal formation. In the Tao of formations, one could not break the formation by force, so one could only look for the flaws. No matter what kind of formation it was, there would be flaws. As long as one stood on the flaws, the difficulty of breaking the formation would plummet. Didn't the mystery of the so-called Four Saints' unbreakable fairy slaying sword formation lie in the secret case? As long as the Four Saints gathered and removed the four sharp swords, the formation would collapse by itself. During the battle between the Taoists and the demons in ancient times, wasn't the first master of the fairy-slaying sword formation, Ro, defeated by Daozu and a group of people? During the God-confirming battle, didn't the Grand Master of Heaven repeat the same mistake? The Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning, the Heavenly Lord of Tao and Virtue, the Buddhist Mother Zhuan-Ti, and Amitabha broke the array formation, causing GS School to suffer a crushing defeat. It was a pity that the 10-terminal formation was not as good as the fairy-slaying sword formation, and Fong Qingshan could not catch up with Daozu and the Saints. The 10-terminal formation was different from the formation restrictions that he had broken in Immortal World and Mount Shu. It could be ranked as the top formation in the world. Even if it was only 1/10 of his, it was still extremely complicated. If he was given time to slowly comprehend the formation, he might have some hope. Unfortunately, Yao Tianjun would not give him this opportunity. After chatting with Fong Qingshan for a while, Yao Tianjun did not know that Fong Qingshan was secretly checking the formation, trying to find a flaw and break it. However, he also realized that something was wrong. Most importantly, Fong Qingshan suddenly appeared in the desolate array in the middle of the night. Where were Zhong and the others? Therefore, Yao Tianjun did not want to delay any further. He wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. Fong Qingshan, do you want to surrender, or do you want me to send you on your way? I don't want either. I want you to go first. Fong Qingshan sighed in his heart, but he attacked first. However, in midair, a 5-colored light flashed, and then a handful of fine needles shot towards Yao Tianjun like a fairy scattering flowers in the sky. Grand 5 elements killing needles. With Fong Qingshan's current cultivation level and attainment in the 5 elements, even a golden immortal would be destroyed by this move. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could hit the target. Freeze! Although Fong Qingshan was caught off guard, Yao Tianjun was the king in the desolate array. At the critical moment, he shouted and changed directions, including the altar. You're courting death. Seeing this, Yao Tianjun sneered, knowing that Fong Qingshan would not resign himself to his fate. Yao Tianjun flicked the peachwood sword in his hand. In an instant, an evil wind howled and ghosts wailed. Black smoke covered the sky, gathering and dispersing, constantly forming into various shapes, emitting waves of shocking resentment. Judging from the appearance of the black sand, it was very vicious. If one were to be touched by it, they would definitely turn into pus and blood and die. Fong Qingshan did not dare to take the risk. He immediately took out the Tai 5 smoke net. At that moment, something strange happened. After being slightly refined, a mirror that had been forgotten in a corner of his body suddenly flew out on its own. It was a treasure that was used to contain the key of the desolate god, the Magus Dao treasure Zhu Wu mirror from the previous era. The item was already damaged, leaving only the toughness of its material and the space inside. However, at that moment, it shone brightly, covering everything. It revealed the aura of the previous era, as if it had returned to the ancient times when the magi and demons fought for supremacy. Chapter 450. Fortunately, They were in the midst of a great calamity and were concealed by the 10-terminal formation. Otherwise, once this aura was exposed, the entire desolation would be alarmed. The ancient shaman demons, the shaman demons controlled the earth, the demons controlled the heavens, the heavenly cycle stars, and the 12 citadels guardian clans. Even saints had to retreat when facing them. If it wasn't for the fact that Heavens wasn't on the Lich Demon's side, he probably wouldn't have the prestige of a sage today. In order to eradicate the liches and demons, the sages had done many good deeds. If there was anyone who disliked the return of the liches to the Desolation Continent, it would be them. It was just like how the ancient Lich did not wish to see the ancient Dragon and Phoenix clans rise again. Let's not talk about that for now. The moment the Zhu Wu mirror rose up, the surging, roaring black sand and black wind that wanted to destroy Fang Qingshan seemed to have met their nemesis. It was just like when Fang Qingshan was going through the wood element thunder tribulation. All the attacks hit the surface of the Zhu Wu mirror, but it was like a clay ox disappearing into the sea, completely seeping into it. The Zhu Wu mirror did not seem to be the victim of this wave of attack, but it seemed to have eaten a full meal and was replenished. The Zhu Wu mirror, which had only a little space left, suddenly became different. However, the entire Zhu Wu mirror seemed to have been activated. Not only was it glowing, but the surroundings were also distorted. With a rumble, a completely different set of rules suddenly appeared on the surface of the mirror. The universe, the world, the billions of space-time. Boundless baleful aura, boundless witchcraft. Head to the heavens, feet to the earth. Not respecting the heavens, not fearing the earth, not worshipping Buddha, not worshipping the Tao, only the ancestor God. Fighting the heavens and fighting the earth, defying the laws and natural order. There are only witches who die standing up, not witches who live kneeling down. I was wondering where you came from. So you're a remnant of the ancient Lich demons. Seeing this scene, Yao Tianjun was shocked at first. However, he soon heaved a sigh of relief and sneered. If that's the case, why didn't you hide in the 100,000 mountains and the underworld to prolong your feeble existence? Instead, you actually dared to stir up trouble in the Desolation Society. Today, I will enforce justice on behalf of heaven and eliminate you, the Scourge. Seeing the Zhu Wu mirror, Yao Tianjun thought that he had seen through Fang Qingshan's background and treated him as a remnant of an ancient lich, so he sneered. Although the Zhu Wu mirror wasn't bad, it wasn't that powerful. After all, this treasure had long been destroyed, and only 20 to 30% of its original power was left. Moreover, although the Desolate Formation, Nailhead, 7 Arrows book, these formation supernatural powers were based on the techniques of the ancient witches and demons to restrain them, it was wishful thinking to think that they could restrain the celestials like how the deity Whipping Whip restrained the human race. Otherwise, when Fang Qingshan was hit, the Zhu Wu mirror would have jumped out without the celestial chessboard's reminder. Sure enough, Yao Tianjun took a white flag from the altar and waved it gently. Attacks that were sharper and more evil swept out continuously. The Zhu Wu mirror was damaged after all, and it lasted for a while. But it seemed that some runes that looked like dragons and snakes were about to be activated. But in the end, they only flickered and were instantly drowned in the endless black wind. Without the help of the Zhu Wu mirror, Fang Qingshan suddenly felt more pressure. But the Tai 5 smoke net's defense circle was pressed again and again, and it was on the verge of collapse, making cracking sounds, as if it couldn't bear the burden. Fang Qingshan's expression changed, and he quickly took out the Haotian treasure mirror. Then, he patted his forehead, showing 5 element halos, forming an emperor canopy. The three of them worked together and barely managed to hold on. Interesting, you have quite a lot of tricks up your sleeve. Seeing the Zhu Wu mirror fall, Fang Qingshan raised the Tai 5 smoke net and the Haotian treasure mirror and the 5 elements canopy magic power. Yao Tianjun couldn't help but feel envious. Although they had the 10 terminal formation, not to mention Dharma treasures, even their best magic power was only comprehended with the help of the formation. After all, Fang Qingshan was far inferior. I'd like to see how long you can last." Yao Tianjun sneered and spat out a mouthful of blood on the white banner in his hand. He shook it heavily, and the attack of the desolate formation increased by 5 layers. Damn it! Fang Qingshan had long expected that things wouldn't go so smoothly. After all, even Qi Jingzi had returned in failure, let alone him. However, he still underestimated the power of the 10-terminal formation. If he didn't have the World Tree and the Khanate Small World to provide him with Dharma powers, as well as all kinds of treasures and magic powers, he would have already turned into a pool of thick water. What should I do? Fang Qingshan couldn't make up his mind now. He had sacrificed hundreds of thousands of years of his lifespan, and although he had vaguely found a flaw, it was still not enough to break the formation. After all, a flaw was a flaw, but one had to be able to seize that opportunity and directly attack the root of the problem. The opportunity was fleeting. Fang Qingshan's current situation was that even though he had discovered an opening, that opening had disappeared too quickly for him to attack in time. Moreover, there was Yao Tianjuan's continuous attacks. Even though he had many methods, he felt that it was very difficult and he couldn't hold on for long. Do I have to retreat? Fang Qingshan was a little unwilling. Although he was fine, Yao Tianjun couldn't accept the amount of luck he had to consume to make Yao Tianjun worship him every day. Buzz! Right at this moment, a sudden change happened. Suddenly, a ray of golden light flew out from the formation and turned into a golden bridge. Rays of light shone brightly, and thousands of auspicious lights appeared. In an instant, the entire desolate formation fell silent. How is this possible? Fang Qingshan was stunned when he saw that, let alone Yao Tianjun. Initially, he was very happy to see Fang Qingshan struggling. However, he did not expect that in the blink of an eye, a golden bridge would fly over and suppress the entire array formation. How could he not be shocked? Then, the two of them saw a person slowly walking out from the golden bridge. His hair was tied up in a bun, and he was wearing a purple gold taiji trigram robe. He held a horsetail whisk in his hand and looked like an immortal. Eldest senior brother Xiandu. When Fang Qingshan saw the person, he was still guessing who it was. However, Yao Tianjun had already screamed in shock. The shock in his heart was indescribable. He did not expect that his desolate formation would actually provoke the eldest senior brother of the 3 sections. Then, at the thought of the great Taoist, Master Xiandu, and the golden bridge beneath his feet, Yao Tianjun knew that it was the treasure of Ren's school, the Khanate Taiji painting. At that moment, Yao Tianjun wanted to cry, but had no tears. Not only did he attract Xiandu, but he also attracted the Taiji painting. They really thought highly of him. Hearing Yao Tianjuan's words, although Fang Qingshan had vaguely guessed it, he could not help but be shocked. He did not expect the Taiji painting to appear in the end. More importantly, Xiandu was also there. What's going on? Just like Yao Tianjun, Fang Qingshan could not help but have a question in his heart. He was not Jiang Zia. No one went to the great red sky to ask for help. Why did Xiandu come? Chapter 451. Red flowers, white lotus roots, and green lotus leaves. The 3 sects were originally one family. Although the situation of the 3 sects was not as good as before, especially Jie School and Chan School, who were like fire and water, the situation of the 3 sects was not as good as before. However, the disciples of the 2 sects still maintained their respect for the great Taoist Master Xiandu of Ren School. Firstly, Xiandu was the only direct disciple of Ren School. His status was so high that even Guang Chengzi of Chan School and Duobao of Jie School could not compare to him. Then there was Xiandu's cultivation level. Although his reputation was not comparable to the 12 golden immortals of Chan School and the 4 inner disciples of Jie School, his cultivation level was the best in the 3 sections. He was almost comparable to the experts of the older generation, such as Randang. Desolation was, after all, a place where strength reigned supreme and the strong preyed on the weak. With strength and background, one could naturally win the respect of others. Most importantly, the great Taoist Master Xiandu had inherited Laozi's inaction personality. Basically, he just sat there and watched, completely ignoring the conflict between the two sects' disciples. Was it necessary for the disciples of the two sects to offend such a senior brother? Therefore, although he did not know why Xuandu would appear in his desolate array and even bring the Khanate cardinal treasure, the Taiji painting, with him, he did not know why Xuandu had appeared in his desolate array. However, Yao Tianjun still tidied up his clothes. He didn't even bother to attack Fang Qingshan. He bowed towards Xian Du. Yao Bin, one of the 10 heavenly lords of the Jie school, greets eldest senior brother Xian Du. Actually, with Xian Du using the Taiji diagram, it was basically impossible for him to activate the array formation. Xian Du was not Qi Jingzi, and the Taiji painting was not the yin-yang mirror. The power of the powerful combination was naturally extraordinary. Given Xuandu's cultivation and the Taiji diagram, he could even defeat ordinary quasi-sages. Xiandu of Ren School greets junior brother Yao. Xiandu returned the greeting in a gentle and refined manner. I wonder why eldest senior brother is here today? After exchanging a few words, Yao Tianjun couldn't wait to ask the question in his heart. This was also Fang Qingshan's question. Hence, when he heard this, he stared at Xuandu without blinking. Hearing this, Xiandu glanced at Fang Qingshan and Yao Tianjun and said indifferently, I came here today not only for you, but also for him, but also for myself and the Taiji diagram. Hearing this, Yao Tianjun was completely confused. What did he mean by for you, for him, and for himself? On the other hand, Fang Qingshan vaguely understood. He vaguely remembered that after Qi Jingzi returned in defeat in the Luo Parade, he had returned to Kunlun Mountain to look for the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning for help. The Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning had said that although he was the sect master, there were still senior brothers above him. He had asked him to go to the Great Scarlet Sky to ask for advice. There is the story of him borrowing Taiji in the Xuandu cave. At that time, I once said that all of you committed this calamity. The Soulfall Formation still has its faults. My treasure Soulfall Formation also suffered this calamity. It is all fate. You solemnly accept the precepts. Therefore, it was understandable that Xian Du wanted the Taiji painting. After all, he was originally facing the calamity of falling into the enemy's hands. As for saying that it was for himself, it was easy to understand. In the Great Tribulation, as long as one did not become a quasi-sage, as long as one was still a member of the Taoist sect, one would be in the tribulation. Although the great Taoist Master Xian Du was Laozi's only direct disciple and no one dared to send him to the God role, he could not avoid going through the Great Tribulation. Fang Qingshan just did not expect him to appear so soon. As for the matter of Yao Tianjun, if Fang Qingshan's guess was right, it should be because he was cutting grass to hit a rabbit. Since he had nothing to do, he might as well try to persuade him. After all, they were from the same sect. If he could wake up and return to the mountain to cultivate, it would be considered as a merit for him. The only thing that Fang Qingshan could not understand was that Xian Du said that it was for him. However, he could not understand it no matter how much he thought about it. After all, he had never had anything to do with Ren School since he came to the world of the gods. However, he did not know that he had been discovered by Laozi the moment he arrived. Moreover, if Laozi had not concealed the heavenly secrets, even if the saints did not know of his existence, they would have known that there was an anomaly. At that time, there would probably be complications. To be honest, the great Taoist Master Xian Du was also very curious about Fang Qingshan. He knew his teacher, the eldest senior brother of the celestial sect of wonders and the heavenly lord of Tao and virtue. The Grand Master was emotionless and ruled without doing anything. As long as it did not involve his reputation, he did not care about the luck and inheritance that the other saints valued. For the sake of the inheritance, even the heavenly lord of primordial beginning, who was so strict, accepted the 12 golden immortals, Yun Zhongzi, and the others. For the sake of luck, Jie School and Chan School were like fire and water. However, Laozi only accepted Xian Du as his direct disciple. Ren School occupied some of the luck of the celestial sect of wonders and the human race. There were also two supreme treasures suppressing them. He did not care at all. It could be said that there was basically nothing that could make him change his expression, let alone be moved. However, when Xiandu first found out about Fong Qingshan, he saw Laozi use the Taiji painting to seal the heavenly secrets for him. Of course, at that time, Xiandu did not know about Fong Qingshan. He only knew about him because he asked him to bring the Taiji painting down the mountain. Although Laozi said that it was because of the Dharma treasures and his own tribulation, Xiandu thought that Fong Qingshan was also an important factor. After all, he was a disciple of Rin School. If he was bullied, he had to get back at him. Thousands of thoughts flashed through Xiandu's mind, but it was actually just a matter of an instant. He looked deeply at Fong Qingshan, then turned to Yao Tianjun and said, "Junior brother, you should know that it's a great calamity now." Third Uncle Master once said, "Close the cave door tightly and quietly recite the 3 volumes of the Yellow Court. If you join the West Earth, there will be a famous person on the God roll. You'd better not get involved in this. Quickly return to the mountain. Thank you for your kind intentions, eldest senior brother. However, the people of Jie School are ultimately loyal." Yao Tianjun first thanked Xiandu and said firmly, "Thank you for your kind intentions, eldest senior brother. Since fellow Taoist one has invited us and I've agreed, there's no reason for me to give up halfway." So Xiandu shook his head and sighed when he heard that. In the end, he did not have that destiny. "Forget it. Since you don't listen to me, forget it. However, I'll ask for a favor from you. How about you remove the desolate array and disperse this soul-stealing technique on him?" As he spoke, Xiandu pointed at Fong Qingshan. Him? Yao Tianjun could not help but frown when he saw that. He did not expect Xiandu to ask him to let Fong Qingshan go. How was that possible? Not to mention that this matter concerned the reputation of Jie School. More importantly, he had spent so many days and wasted so much luck and lifespan. If he returned without any results, those who knew would think that he was giving Xiandu face. Those who did not know would think that he did not deserve his reputation. Logically speaking, eldest senior brother, Yao Bin should follow your words. However, this matter concerns the reputation of Jie School. Please forgive me, eldest senior brother. Afraid that Xiandu would think that he was trying to shirk the responsibility, Yao Tianjun explained the reason why he wanted to deal with Fong Qingshan. I see. At that point, Fong Qingshan finally understood how he had replaced Jiang Zia and become a thorn in their side. Chapter 452. Xiandu's expression, which was originally gloomy, also eased up. At their realm, face was sometimes really important. He was the only direct disciple of Rin School, the third-generation eldest senior brother of the Celestial Sect of Wonders, and he was actually rejected by an outer sect disciple of Jie School. Wasn't that a slap to his face? No matter how quiet he was, if he did not come for the sake of himself, his teacher, and the reputation of Rin School, he might have to bully the weak today. Fortunately, after hearing Yao Tianjun's words, Xiandu could understand. Wasn't the reason why he appeared there because of Fong Qingshan? Wasn't he also trying to protect the reputation of Rin School? If that's the case, junior brother Yao, don't worry. He's not a remnant of a lich. Just as Yao Tianjun saw that the great Taoist Master Xiandu's expression had eased up, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he heard him say, "He's a direct disciple of Rin School." When he mentioned the word direct disciple, Xiandu could not help but stutter. However, after thinking about it, he still gave him the word direct disciple. After all, not to mention the fact that Fong Qingshan's pure yang sword art was originally a direct disciple of Rin School. No one would believe that he was not a direct disciple just because of his mystical ability to turn Sanqing into one breath. One had to know that even he, the disciple, had not been taught the mystical ability to turn Sanqing into one breath. Of course, Xiandu did not know that it was only a coincidence that Fong Qingshan learned to turn Sanqing into one breath. If he wanted to learn it himself, he would teach it to him without hesitation. Hence, Xiandu did not have any other emotions. Is he a member of Rin School or a direct disciple? After hearing the great Taoist Master Xian Du's explanation, Yao Tianjuan's body trembled and his face was filled with disbelief. Then he came back to his senses and was filled with anger. That's right. Although he did not believe that Fang Qingshan was a disciple of Ren School, he could still accept it. After all, Fang Qingshan did have the mark of the Ren School's Taoism. Although he had been using the five elements Taoism, he could still feel that the three schools were of the same origin. Moreover, he could also feel the Taoism of the Chan school. Back then, when Fang Qingshan was in the Three Kingdoms, he obtained Zhang Jiao's 3 scrolls of heavenly writing. Among them, apart from Elder Huang's Taoist technique, there was also Xuan Yuan's inheritance. The master of human Emperor Xian Yuan was Guang Chengzi, the head of the 12 golden immortals of the Chan sect. Therefore, it was not strange that his Taoist techniques carried traces of the Chan school's Taoist techniques. However, he could not agree with the great Taoist Master Xian Du's claim that Fang Qingshan was a direct disciple of Ren School. You said that you wanted to save someone. That's understandable. After being rejected by me, you could find a good excuse. You actually said that it's the direct disciple of Ren School. That's an insult to Yao Tianjuan's intelligence. Who didn't know what kind of person the Taoist sect's eldest senior brother, the Lord of Tao and Virtue, was? If it wasn't for the inheritance, even Xuandu wouldn't accept him. After so many years, he had never heard of him accepting another disciple. Now, a direct disciple suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Not to mention him, no one would believe it even if they told others. Even Fang Qingshan himself found it hard to believe, let alone Yao Tianjun. Yes, he had cultivated the pure yang sword art and the one qi sanqing, but he had never hoped that he could catch the eye of his father. Compared to the heavenly lord of primordial beginning, who was famous for being picky, he was even more lazy. The heavenly lord of primordial beginning was, after all, as long as one's background, aptitude, comprehension, luck, and so on were excellent, he might accept them. On the other hand, he didn't care who they were. In fact, when he entered the world of gods, he was still a little nervous. He was afraid that if his father found out that he had cultivated these mystical abilities, he would be struck by lightning. However, he didn't expect that not only would he not be struck by lightning, but he would also actually become a direct disciple in a daydream. He even heard it from Xian Du. Why did Fang Qingshan not believe it? In fact, Xian Du had misunderstood. The reason why his father asked him to go down the mountain was really for 2 purposes. One was to let the Tai Chi painting go through the tribulation, and the other was to let Xian Du go through the tribulation so that he could get rid of the tribulation earlier. As for Fang Qingshan, it was just a matter of convenience. However, Xian Du thought that since his master helped him hide the secrets of heaven, and now he asked him to save people with the Tai Chi painting and learn the one Qi Sanqing supernatural power, if it wasn't a direct disciple, what else could it be? Therefore, due to a combination of factors, the current situation happened. Even the person involved was at a loss, let alone Yao Tianjun. At this moment, he didn't have the respect he had just now for Xian Du. He said coldly, "Let's not talk about his identity. Just the fact that he is the mastermind of Shi Qi and killed several Taoists of the tribe of Jia. We can't let him go today. Eldest senior brother, please go back." As soon as he said this, he immediately angered Xian Du. Xian Du naturally didn't think that Yao Tianjun didn't believe his words. Instead, he thought that he was lying. In his eyes, this was the situation. He had already said that Fang Qingshan was a direct disciple of the Ren School, but Yao Tianjun actually dared to say that he wouldn't let Fang Qingshan go in front of him. It was simply outrageous. As for what Yao Tianjun said about Fang Qingshan killing a few outer sect disciples of the tribe of Jia, Xian Du didn't take it seriously at all. Tens of thousands of immortals from the tribe of Jia were here. It didn't matter if a few outer sect disciples died. How could they be compared to the direct disciples of the Ren School? It seems that junior brother really doesn't want to give me face and wants to go against the Ren School, right? Xian Du narrowed his eyes slightly and said calmly. There was no change in his tone. However, Fang Qingshan and Yao Tianjun both knew that Xian Du was angry. Yao Tianjun was still a little afraid if Xiandu was not because of anything else, but because of his cultivation level. When he was on Golden Turtle Island, he heard eldest senior brother Duo Bao talk about the experts in the world. Apart from the people of the older generation, Xiandu was ranked first. Even Duo Bao himself admitted that he was inferior to his eldest senior brother. The 10 absolute arrays were indeed powerful. If it was a complete array formation, Yao Tianjun would definitely not be afraid of Xiandu. However, they had not perfected the 10 absolute arrays, and the desolate array was only 1/10 of the 10 absolute arrays. Yao Tianjun did not have the confidence to face an expert like Xiandu. Eldest senior brother, are you going to bully the weak and use force to suppress me? Yao Tianjun said fiercely, but he was afraid at heart. Bully the weak and use force to suppress me? Xiandu glanced at him calmly. Why didn't you think so when you were dealing with Fong Qingshan? Besides, even if I bully the weak, what can you do? Xiandu said proudly. Even if third Uncle Master finds out about this on Golden Turtle Island, do you think he will punish me for being an outer sect disciple? Yao Tianjun was speechless when he heard that because he knew that Xiandu was speaking the truth. Greetings, eldest senior brother Xiandu. At that moment, Fong Qingshan, who had been silent, spoke. Chapter 453. Greetings, junior brother Fong. Hearing Fong Qingshan's voice, Xiandu's expression softened, and he returned the greeting. Although Fong Qingshan did not know when he had been recognized by Laozi and become a direct disciple of Ren School, since those words came from Xiandu's mouth, it was definitely not fake. Even if Laozi did not say that, Xiandu's acknowledgement was no different from Laozi's acknowledgement. At that time, even if it was to protect Xiandu's reputation, Laozi would pinch his nose and admit it. Fong Qingshan was extremely surprised by this unexpected identity. Not to mention what he could learn from Laozi, just based on his identity as a direct disciple of Ren School. As long as Fong Qingshan did not court death, he could run amok in the entire desolation. For the sake of Laozi, even a saint would not make things too difficult for Fong Qingshan. After all, Fong Qingshan was a protective talisman. Since he was already a disciple of Ren School, Fong Qingshan naturally had to express himself. At the same time, he had to protect the sect's reputation. It would not be nice to let Xiandu take action. Eldest senior brother, there's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. It's just a desolate array. Why do you need to take action? Let's see what I can do. Fong Qingshan smiled and said, Is what you said true? Xiandu raised his eyebrows. Although he did not take the desolate array seriously, in his opinion, not many people under Second Uncle Master could escape unscathed, not to mention that Fong Qingshan was just an itinerant immortal. He did not know where Fong Qingshan got his confidence from, but since he had acknowledged Fong Qingshan's identity, it was not good for him to refute him the first time he spoke. In addition, Xiandu thought that even if Fong Qingshan could not do it, he could still use a spell to make up for it later. He could also see which part of Fong Qingshan caught Master's eye. A gentleman keeps his word. Fong Qingshan said firmly. However, I still need some help. Eldest senior brother. Oh, junior brother, feel free to tell me. That's right. Xiandu felt a little relieved when he heard that. Please lend me the Taiji painting for a while. Fong Qingshan asked Xiandu for the Taiji painting. However, he was also a little nervous. He did not know if Xiandu would agree. This is what Master wanted me to bring to the lower realm to break the formation. Since junior brother needs it, please take it. When Xiandu heard this, he did not hesitate at all and casually handed the Taiji diagram to Fong Qingshan. Fong Qingshan subconsciously took the Taiji painting in a daze, and his heart trembled. He did not expect Xian Qingshan to Tian to Xian Qingshan. This was the Taiji diagram, one of the 3 treasures of creation, a connate cardinal treasure. It possessed the power to calm the earth, water, fire, and wind, transform the power of yin, yang, and the 5 elements, divide the mysteries of the heavenly Tao, and encompass the power of 10,000 elephants. Tian, 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 and Tian, Tian, Yang Tian 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 Yin is Tian Tian Fong. Tian Tian Tian. Tian 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 Tian. Tian. Tian Tian Tian. As for the heavenly chessboard, it was the treasure that was most likely to catch up to the Taiji painting. However, he did not know when that would happen. The reason why Xiandu was so straightforward was that he treated Fong Qingshan as one of his own. He was also confident that no one in the world would dare to covet the Taiji painting. Eldest senior brother, are you going to break the array or not? If not, please leave. Yao Tianjuan's heart sank when he saw Fong Qingshan and the great Taoist master Xiandu talking to each other. Fong Qingshan seemed to be a direct disciple of Ren's school. After seeing Xiandu hand the Taiji painting to Fong Qingshan, Yao Tianjun finally believed that fact. What followed was endless trouble. If he let Fong Qingshan off, he would be slapping himself in the face. Great Taoist Master Xiandu would definitely not stand by and watch if he dealt with Fong Qingshan. After some thought, Yao Tianjun felt that it was better to compromise. He did not go all out to deal with Fong Qingshan, nor did he remove the scarecrow. That way, as long as Fong Qingshan's life was not in danger, he would not let Xiandu deal with him. At the same time, he would save his face. In a few days, he would remove the spell. Everyone would be happy. Unfortunately, he had neglected whether Fong Qingshan could break the array formation. Actually, it was not that he had overlooked that possibility. He just did not believe that Fong Qingshan had the ability to do so. If he had the ability, he would have broken the array formation long before Xiandu arrived. Now, he only had the Taiji painting. The Taiji painting was indeed powerful. It was a Khanate cardinal treasure. In the entire Desolation sect, it was one of the few Dharma treasures. It could split the earth and sky, clear the turbid, stabilize the earth, water, fire, and wind. It was all-encompassing. However, activating such a Dharma treasure required a huge amount of Dharma powers. Not to mention that Fong Qingshan was only an itinerant immortal. Even if he had the cultivation level of a golden immortal, how much could he unleash? Since we're here, we naturally have to break the array formation. Fong Qingshan replied. If that's the case, don't blame me for making a move. Yao Tianjun waved the white banner in his hand without saying a word. All of a sudden, chilly winds roared, black sand filled the air, resentment swept, and malevolent chi shot into the sky. Ordinary Dharma treasures would have their spiritual light tainted upon contact. Without Dharma treasures to protect oneself, one's physical body would turn into a pool of thick blood in no time. However, be it Fong Qingshan or Xiandu, they naturally had cardinal treasures to protect themselves. However, this time, Fong Qingshan did not use the Tai 5 Smoke Luo or the Haotian treasure mirror. Instead, he took out the heaven chessboard, a Khanate numinous treasure, and cast the all-natural death chess. With the 5 elements canopy above his head, there would be no problem for a while. As for Xiandu, the gate of heaven opened, clouds floated, and a red flag fluttered in the wind, sprinkling pieces of the fire lotus. It was the floating flame flag, one of the Khanate 5 flags that was as famous as the Jade Void apricot flag. As for Fong Qingshan, after withstanding the defense of the desolate array, he did not dare to be negligent. The World Tree and the Khanate Small World Spirit Meridian were completely mobilized at this moment. An infinite amount of spirit chi poured into the Tai Chi diagram like a flood that was released from a dam. Boom! It was a loud sound. The Tai Chi diagram unfolded, shaking heaven and earth and changing the color of the sun and moon. His body was surrounded by thousands of rays of light and auspicious colors. Outside the painting, the prophecy of the great Tao revolved around it, and inside the painting, the heavenly Tao talisman was faintly visible. A white jade golden bridge stretched across the void. The 5-colored light shone on the mountains and rivers, and the 9-colored auspicious chi shocked the universe. In an instant, the entire desolate array seemed to have frozen time. The clouds dispersed, and the rain stopped. This is impossible. Seeing this scene, Yao Tianjuan's worldview was destroyed. He did not expect Fang Qingshan to really be able to activate the Tai Chi diagram and stabilize the array. Not only him, but even Xian Du's eyes flashed with a glimmer of light. He finally understood why this person was valued by his teacher and taught Sanqing the One Qi transformation. A mere itinerant immortal could activate a Khanate cardinal treasure. There were basically only a few people in the entire desolation. Chapter 454. As expected of a Khanate cardinal treasure. Just as Yao Tianjun was in disbelief and the great Taoist master Xian Du was sighing, Fang Qingshan felt like crying. A primordial cardinal treasure was a primordial cardinal treasure after all. There were less than 10 of them in the entire desolation, not to mention that it was the best among the primordial cardinal treasures. The primordial cardinal treasure, the Taiji diagram formed by the heaven-splitting axe. Although there weren't many primordial spiritual treasures, they weren't as rare as primordial cardinal treasures. However, even the top 10 primordial spiritual treasures of desolation were incomparable to primordial supreme treasures. Even the first-ranked Godslayer was only comparable to Pangu's banner in terms of attack. Fang Qingshan originally thought that since he could use a top-notch Khanate numinous treasure like the Treasurefall coin, coupled with a superior grade Spirit Meridian and the World Tree in his Khanate small world, it should not be a problem for him to activate the Khanate cardinal treasure like the Taiji painting. However, he had thought of things too simply. Just by activating the Taiji diagram, the World Tree wilted and the entire high-grade spirit vein almost dried up. As a result, the entire Khanate small world seemed to be unstable. Fortunately, we managed to hold on in the end. The Taiji diagram unfolded, the golden bridge crossing the sky, stabilizing the great formation. Fang Qingshan took a deep breath. He knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He did not have the ability to activate the Taiji diagram again. Yao Tianjun had not recovered from his shock. Fang Qingshan quickly took out the all-heaven sword and slashed at the flaw of the formation that he had spent hundreds of thousands of years of his lifespan to deduce. Buzz! The sword aura was like frost, like a golden bridge crossing the sky. On the ancient body of the sword, countless mysterious patterns flickered incessantly. Waves of dense, killing tribulation power rose from the sword. The killing intent filled the world, as if it was going to cut through the world. Wuji gave birth to Taiji. Taiji transformed into yin and yang. Yin and yang evolved into the three powers. The three powers formed the four symbols. The four symbols changed into the five elements. The five elements formed the six harmonies. The six harmonies formed the seven stars. The 8 stars formed the 8 trigrams. The 8 trigrams connected the 9 palaces, and the 9 palaces merged into the 10 directions. After that, there were the heavenly stems and earthly branches, the heavenly dippers and earthly fiends, and a sky full of stars that hung in the sky. One sword begets 10,000 techniques. Yes, this was the ultimate technique in the sword Tao that Fang Qingshan was most skilled in. Even a lion would use its full strength to catch a rabbit, not to mention that he was the rabbit. Even though the Taiji diagram had stabilized the formation, even though he had already found a flaw in the formation through the Little Destiny art and the Void Evasion sword art, he was still unable to break through the formation. But in the end, his cultivation was still too low. If he didn't go all out, he might fall short of success. The moment Fang Qingshan made his move, Yao Tianjun finally regained his senses. If it was said that Fang Qingshan was able to activate the Tai Chi diagram, it was unbelievable and incomprehensible to him. In that case, Yao Tianjun could only say that it was heaven's will that favored him. Otherwise, with his knowledge and cultivation, how could he have discovered the flaw in the desolate formation? Whether it was God's will or Fang Qingshan's good luck, Yao Tianjun couldn't just sit and wait for death. With no time to think, Yao Tianjun struck his chest and spat out a mouthful of heart blood. The white banner in his hand immediately shone brightly. The array formation that was originally fixed by the Taiji diagram moved with a loud bang. A storm was brewing. Fang Qingshan was already struggling to activate the Taiji diagram. Now, his Dharma powers were even weaker. Previously, Yao Tianjun was also shocked by Fang Qingshan's ability to activate the Khanate Cardinal Treasure and the Taiji diagram. After coming back to his senses, he used his blood essence to activate it. In just a moment, the golden bridge was on the verge of collapse. Its light dimmed. In a few breaths, the Taiji diagram would not be able to stabilize the array formation. Great Taoist Master Xiandu, who was holding the floating flame flag, squinted when he saw that. Although he let Fang Qingshan break the array formation, it did not mean that he did not care about him. Once there was any danger, he would definitely attack immediately. As for whether he could break the array formation or not, that was secondary. The main thing was that he could not let Fang Qingshan be injured. Previously, he was still wondering how Fang Qingshan had caught his master's attention. At that moment, he understood. Since they were family, he could not watch as something happened to him in front of him. Otherwise, how could he endure it? The wind blew wildly, and the murderous aura swept. Crack! With a crisp sound, the Taiji Golden Bridge disintegrated. Ever since he had the World Tree, Fang Qingshan had not experienced the feeling of lacking Dharma powers for a long time. At that moment, Fang Qingshan was focused on executing the 10,000 Dharma technique with a single sword. His body was empty, and he was shocked by the murderous aura of the Desolate Spirit Array. He accidentally let go of the Taiji diagram and dropped it in the array formation. Xiandu frowned. Just as he was about to attack, he suddenly heard the sound of silk tearing. Following that, the black wind and black sand that were surging as if it was the end of the world suddenly stopped. In an instant, it disintegrated like a landslide. What surprised Xiandu the most was that the entire array formation sounded like it could not withstand the burden. Not long after, under Yao Tianjuan's terrified and Xiandu's shocked gazes, the entire Desolate Spirit Array disintegrated. How is this possible? Seeing this scene, not to mention Yao Tianjun, even Xiandu could not believe it and exclaimed almost at the same time. Yao Tianjun could not believe that the 10 of them had worked hard for thousands of years and wasted so much time that their cultivation levels did not increase just to comprehend the 10 ultimate formation and let it shine. However, they did not expect it to be broken by an itinerant immortal like Fang Qingshan as soon as it appeared. This was simply unreasonable. This experience was exactly the same as the green robe in the battle at Xiyun Temple and Shu Mountain. However, what was worse for Yao Tianjun was that the blissful boy's cultivation level was much higher than the green robe's, and the heaven and earth needle in his hand was able to restrain the 100 poison golden silkworm goo. What about Fang Qingshan? What did he have? At most, he could barely activate the Taiji diagram. However, even so, he actually broke the Desolate Spirit Array. Not only Yao Tianjun, but even Xiandu found it hard to imagine. Previously, when Fang Qingshan activated the Taiji diagram, he had already thought highly of him. However, he did not expect that he could break the Desolate Spirit Array in such a short period of time. This really made him look at Fang Qingshan in a different light. Although Xiandu could also break the array, he could only do so with brute force. However, Fang Qingshan could actually find the flaws of the array, which made him gasp in amazement. When the array was broken, the sacrificial altar naturally collapsed, and the worshipped scarecrow spontaneously combusted. In an instant, Fang Qingshan felt his body become light, as if he was about to ascend to become an immortal. Not only him, but even the heaven chessboard seemed to have glowed with glory after being covered in dust, letting out crisp and melodious sounds. These days, because of the Desolate Spirit Array, although Fang Qingshan was fine, there was a black gas between his eyebrows. If not for the heaven chessboard's suppression and isolation, his soul would have long left his body, and disaster would have befallen him. Compared to the ease of Fang Qingshan's trapped dragon ascending to heaven, Yao Tianjun was facing imminent disaster. Initially, because he did not see any results in dealing with Fang Qingshan for a long time, he sacrificed himself desperately and was already at the end of his rope. Chapter 455. Now, the desolate array had been broken. To the 10 heavenly lords, the array formation was like a natal dharma treasure to an ordinary person. Think about what it meant to have a natal dharma treasure shattered. If it was light, 1,000 years of hard work would be gone. If it was heavy, he would die. In order to deal with Fong Qing Shan, he had already overloaded it. Now that his natal dharma treasure had been broken, it was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The array formation backfired. However, the endless murderous aura, resentment, and hostility in the desolate array seemed to have found an outlet and swarmed towards Yao Tianjun. In just an instant, Yao Tianjun didn't even have time to let out a scream before he lost his life. A gust of wind blew and Yao Tianjun turned into ashes like specks of fluorescence in a summer night. Fortunately, although he was dead, he wasn't afraid of his soul being destroyed or reincarnated because he was a famous person on the God roll. As long as the great God-conferment tribulation ended and Jiangxia became a god on behalf of the heavens, he could use the God roll and the 33 heavens to rebuild his body. However, when that time came, he would no longer be a carefree chi refinement warrior, but an immortal guest who was restrained by others. Were immortals good? Of course, immortals were good. In the boundless universe, countless people dreamed of becoming immortals. However, it was undoubtedly a disaster for the disciples of the three sects and the disciples of the saints. To be able to live in peace, absorb the spiritual energy of the heavens and the earth, absorb the essence of the sun and moon, walk freely in the mountains, invite a few good friends, drink a few cups of tea, and meditate. How free was that? Who would be willing to be restrained and controlled by others? That was also the reason why the disciples of the three sects couldn't do anything to the Jade Emperor, who was the master of the three realms and the child of the patriarch of Hongjun. It was a pity that he couldn't shake off his fate, even though he was being led by someone else instead of moving forward. A ray of spiritual light shot up from Yao Tianjuan's corpse and flew towards the God-conferment platform. In front of the central tent, Jiangxia and the others blocked Wenzhong's 10 people. Although everyone worked together and had the Jade Void apricot flag, a defensive treasure, and the God-striking whip, a numinous treasure that specialized in restraining immortals, they were a bit powerless at that moment. After all, Wenzhong was an experienced heaven immortal, and the 10 heavenly lords were perfected immortals. Most importantly, without Wenzhong's leadership, the Shang army was forced to retreat under the leadership of Huang Feihu, Nangong Shi, and the others, even though the 4 heavenly lords and Jili were in charge. If it were not for the fact that the central tent was still standing, the Shang army would have collapsed. As for the 10 heavenly lords and the others, although they were not blood-related brothers, they were closer than blood-related brothers. Although they could not say that their hearts were connected, they could still sense each other. After all, the 10-terminal formation that they had refined was a whole. When the Taiji painting appeared in the desolate array, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others sensed it when Heavenly Lord Yao was in danger. At this point, they finally understood that Jiangxia and the others had ulterior motives. On the surface, they were intercepting them and attacking the army. But in the dark, they were sending people to the desolate battle formation to steal the scarecrows and even break the formation, crossing the sea by deceiving everyone and creating a diversion. Thinking up to here, Heavenly Monarch Qin, Wenzhong, and the others no longer dared to hold back. He attacked with all his might. For a moment, Jiangxia and the others were in a precarious situation. Although Dharma treasures were good, they needed Dharma power to support them. In the face of the storm-like attacks from 9 perfected immortals and 1 heaven immortal, Jiangxia even put away the god-beating whip and went all out to maintain the Jade Void apricot yellow flag. Even so, he was afraid that he would not be able to hold on for long. Has the benefactor succeeded? How much longer will it take? If this goes on, we won't be able to make it. Huang Tianhua's face was pale, and he was on the verge of collapsing. Yes, if the apricot yellow flag's defense is broken, and the benefactor has not broken the formation or snatched the scarecrows, not only will we be drawing water with a sieve, but we will also suffer a double loss. Jinjia also chimed in. Although Fang Qingshan was the benefactor of West Qi, he was not a member of the Chan sect after all. They could do ordinary things for Fang Qingshan, but it would be wishful thinking if they risked their lives for him. Huang Tianhua and the others were already a little impatient before they were at the end of the line. Xiang Qi's face darkened when he heard that, but he did not say anything. He only secretly made a note of them in his heart. All right, if you have the time to complain, why don't you hurry up and recover your dermic powers? Although Jiang Zia was also very anxious, he still thought of the big picture and scolded them softly. At that moment, suddenly, an earth-shattering sound came from not far away. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw that a hole had suddenly appeared in the 10-terminal formation. Murderous aura shot up to the sky like an erupting volcano. Then they saw Yao Tianjuan's imprint of true spirit being thrown toward the apotheosis platform. Good. Seeing that, Jiang Zia and the others knew that Fang Qingshan had succeeded. They had thought that it would be good enough if Fang Qingshan could steal the scarecrows. They did not expect that he could even break the formation. Let's go. Jiang Zia calmed himself down. Knowing that this was not the time to be happy, he quickly gave the order for the whole army to retreat from the battle in an orderly manner. If the stalemate continued, they would not be on the verge of collapse when faced with 9 crazy perfected immortals. Instead, it would be a disaster. Brother Yao, the 10-terminal formation was won, and the desolate array was broken. Naturally, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others could not avoid the backlash. However, they could not care less now. Seeing that Yao Tianjun was killed, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others were about to go crazy. Their beards and hair stood on end, and their eyes were wide open. The 10 Heavenly Lords were not only from the same sect, but they were also as close as brothers. More importantly, the desolate array had been broken and the 10-terminal formation was missing one. It would never be perfected. That was the grudge of obstructing the Tao. To Qi refinement warriors who were dedicated to the great Tao, the grudge of obstructing the Tao was even more irreconcilable than the death of one's father. Heavenly Lord Qin and the others could not be bothered with Jiang Zia and the others. They rushed to the vicinity of the desolate array and happened to see Fang Qingshan and the great Taoist master Xiandu walking out. Eldest senior brother Xiandu, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others, as well as Wenzhong, could not help but be stunned when they saw Xiandu then. They reacted. They were wondering how anyone in West Qi could break the desolate array. It turned out that it was Xiandu who did it. Then there was boundless anger. Although the disciples of Jie School and Chan School were already like fire and water, they still maintained their respect for Xiandu. However, what did they get in return? Chan School did not even attack, but Xiandu actually attacked for an outsider. Not only did he break the array formation, but he also killed Yao Tianjun. I didn't break the desolate array. Xiandu shook his head and explained calmly when he saw how Heavenly Lord Qin and the others looked like they wanted to eat him alive. If eldest senior brother Xiandu didn't display his divine might, could it be that he, a mere itinerant immortal, did it? Hearing Xiandu's words, Heavenly Lord Qin and the others laughed in anger. Chapter 456. No one knew the power of the 10 absolute array better than them, who had personally practiced it. Although they were outer sect disciples, did not have any powerful Dharma treasures, and only had perfected immortal cultivation, the 10 heavenly lords were very confident. As long as the array formation was activated, even golden immortals and primordial unity immortals could only be defeated. They had to believe that Fang Qingshan, an itinerant cultivator with itinerant immortal cultivation, had broken the secret array formation of Jie School. The 10 heavenly lords had painstakingly practiced the 10 absolute array for 1,000 years. No one would believe it, let alone them. If Xiandu had broken the array formation and killed Yao Tianjun, the 10 absolute array would not be perfected. Although they were angry, they still maintained some rationality. When they heard Xiandu's words that even ghosts would not believe, The remaining rationality in their hearts was immediately burned by anger. The onlookers saw the game clearly. Heavenly Lord Qin and the others were like Yao Tianjun back then. They did not believe Xiandu's words at all. However, Wen Zhong was still at the side. Although his cultivation level was not high, he was experienced and very rational. Although he felt that it was unbelievable, what Xiandu said should be true. First of all, Wen Zhong did not have a clear understanding of the 10 absolute array. Although he knew that the 10 absolute array was a secret array formation of Jie School, that was also the reason he had invited the 10 heavenly lords. However, he had never really seen how powerful the 10 absolute array was. Although he had gone in to take a look after it was successfully set up and felt that it was very extraordinary, he had not experienced it himself. The desolate array had been used for so many days, but did not do anything to Fong Qingshan. That made Wen Zhong hesitate. What about Fong Qingshan? A mere itinerant cultivator and an itinerant immortal could actually fight on par with him and even be at a disadvantage in the end. Although he did not want to admit it, Wen Zhong knew that if the battle continued, he would definitely lose in the end. In his opinion, it was understandable that such a person had some tricks up his sleeves to break the desolate array. Furthermore, there was Xiandu's identity. Xiandu was a disciple of Ren School and the only direct disciple of Laozi. His status was high and he was the best in the 3 sections. Even in the entire Desolation sect, not many people could be more famous than him. Such a person was not good at lying. Moreover, even if Xiandu really broke the formation and killed Yao Tianjun, there was no need to hide it at all. Even if the sect leader of Tongtian found out, he would not do anything to him. Moreover, Wen Zhong would not think that a person like Xuandu, who governed without doing anything, would take the blame for Fong Qingshan. Therefore, before the 10 heavenly lords attacked, Wen Zhong said loudly, "I'm Wen Zhong, a disciple of the goddess of golden spirit of the 3rd generation of Jie School. Greetings, Uncle Master Xiandu." Although Heavenly Lord Qin and the others were furious, they still had to give Wen Zhong face. Therefore, they suppressed the anger in their hearts and waited to see what Wen Zhong had to say. "Martial nephew in his right." Xiandu nodded. "No, what's the matter? Why did Great Master Uncle come to Shiqi?" Wen Zhong asked. "The disciples of the 3 sects are in the great God-confirmant tribulation. I'm no exception." Xiandu replied calmly. "Not long ago, teacher predicted that the Taiji painting would be lost. He asked me to bring this treasure to the Luo Porei." Xiandu also knew that the others had too many doubts about Fong Qingshan breaking the array formation. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, even Xiandu would not have believed it, let alone them. However, just because he could not believe it did not mean that others could doubt him. Fortunately, Wen Zhong was polite. Otherwise, Xiandu would not have explained it all. In that case, Uncle Master used the Taiji painting to stabilize the Luo Porei. That's why Fong Qingshan broke the array formation? Wen Zhong guessed. If that was the case, it was not impossible. However, Xiandu still shook his head. "I only lent the Taiji painting to Junior Brother Fong. He did everything else." Junior Brother Fong? Upon hearing those 3 words, be it Jiang Zia and the others who were silent, the furious Heavenly Lord Qin and the others, or Wen Zhong, they could not help but widen their eyes. Their eyeballs seemed to be about to fall out. They did not care about what he said after that. Junior Brother Fong is a direct disciple of Ren School. Xiandu understood their feelings very well, just like how Yao Tianjun did not believe it at the beginning. How is that possible? Heavenly Lord Qin was almost roaring. He was really disappointed with Xiandu first. He lied and said that Fong Qingshan had broken the array formation. Now, he even said that Fong Qingshan was actually a direct disciple of Ren School. If not for the fact that the 10 heavenly lords were as close as brothers, they could empathize with Yao Tianjun's emotions. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw Fong Qingshan's shoulders tremble. 2 figures, one black and one white, walked out his body. Apart from the difference in their clothes, their aura, cultivation level, appearance, and so on are almost identical to Fong Qingshan. They were even more similar than twins. 3 pure ones with one breath. Upon seeing that, the disciples of the three sects almost shouted in unison. Then, they looked at each other and fell silent. Fang Qingshan was actually a disciple of Ren School. Moreover, he was secretly taken in by me apart from Xian. Do I wonder if their actions have ruined my plan? At the thought of that, almost everyone present shivered. At the same time, they were filled with endless complaints about Fang Qingshan. You said that you were a direct disciple of Ren School. You should express it. If you want to do it, just do it. Let us know that we don't care about the outside world, but for the sake of the Buddha, who would still target you? If we don't target you, the desolate array won't be broken, Yao Tianjun won't die, and Xuandu won't be attracted here. If Fang Qingshan knew what Wen Zhong and the others were thinking, he would definitely feel wronged. I'm also very confused. I don't know why all this happened. If he had known that his father would approve of him, he wouldn't have stayed in the human world at all. He would have gone to the great red sky and gained more. The luck that a direct disciple of his could gain was unimaginable. Unfortunately, there was no if. I didn't expect the benefactor to be a disciple of Uncle Master. After a long while, Jiang Zia came back to his senses and said with a look of surprise, "It's Zia's fault." At this moment, Huang Tianhua and the others were also extremely embarrassed. Previously, they were still complaining about him. In the past, they looked down on him, but now they couldn't afford to associate with him. Even if you're a disciple of Uncle Master, I definitely don't believe that you broke the desolate array. After a moment of silence, Heavenly Lord Qin said firmly, "Oh." Fang Qingshan raised his eyebrows. "How can you believe that? Unless you break another array. Otherwise, eldest brother Xuandu will definitely help." Heavenly Lord Qin's eyes flashed. "Senior brother Fang, you can't." "Yes, young master, don't agree." Who cares if you believe it or not? It's up to you." As soon as Heavenly Lord Qin's words fell, Jiang Zia and the others immediately objected. Fang Qingshan glanced at Xian Du, then at Jiang Zia, Heavenly Lord Qin, and the others and nodded. "Okay, if that's the case, then break another array." Chapter 457. All right, that's great. Hearing Fang Qingshan's agreement, Heavenly Lord Qin was afraid that something would happen again, so he immediately said loudly, "As expected of the direct disciple of Ren School. As expected of the direct disciple of Ren School. Today, let's settle this in front of eldest senior brother Xian Du. You can choose the remaining 9 arrays of our 10 absolute arrays. You don't have to break them. As long as you can escape unscathed, we'll write off our karma. How about that? How can there be such a cheap thing?" Fang Qingshan glanced at him with a faint smile and said calmly, "If I can break the array formation, not only will you have to apologize to eldest senior brother, but you will also have to give me half of your luck in the future." All right, a gentleman's word. When Heavenly Lord Qin heard this, he agreed without hesitation. "I'll whip the horse quickly." Fang Qingshan could not help but smile when he saw that. Fang Qingshan knew what Heavenly Lord Qin was thinking like the back of his hand. Previously, because of Fang Qingshan's identity, he asked Yao Tianjun to kill him in order to protect the face of Jie School. Now, he knew that Fang Qingshan was actually a direct disciple of Ren School. His status was so noble that it was even greater than that of the inner sect disciples of Jie School. In the past, even if he did not befriend such a person, he would at least not offend him. Unfortunately, he had offended Fang Qingshan long ago. Now that Yao Tianjun had died in Fang Qingshan's hands, the 10 absolute arrays could not be perfected. The 2 of them could be said to be irreconcilable enemies unless one of them died. However, Fang Qingshan's identity was another big problem. With his current identity, the people of West Qi would probably not let him take the risk again. If Fang Qingshan did not attack, how could they have a chance to take revenge? However, even if Fang Qingshan were to make a move, it would not be easy for him to defeat and injure him, but it would not be easy for him to kill him. Therefore, Heavenly Lord Qin had to force him to set up a battle to end his karma. In this way, no one could interfere. With the power of the 10 terminal formation, avenging Yao Tianjun was not out of reach. As for Fang Qingshan, He had already broken through the desolate spirit formation. Although Xian Du had said that he had only borrowed the Taiji diagram and did not interfere with anything else, Heavenly Lord Qin did not believe him at all. Putting aside everything else, how could an itinerant immortal like Fang Qingshan be able to wield the power of a connate cardinal treasure? Junior brother, are you confident? If Fang Qingshan understood Heavenly Lord Qin's actions, how could the others not? Therefore, Jiang Zia and the others were all against it. Xian Du waited for the dust to settle before he asked indifferently, "Don't worry, senior martial brother. Green Mountain doesn't fight a battle that I'm not confident of winning." Fang Qingshan nodded confidently. Xian Du nodded and didn't say anything. He had seen Fang Qingshan break the desolate soul formation, so he was not worried. When the others saw that Xuandu didn't object, they didn't dare to say anything. For a moment, there was nothing to say. The next day, the two sides confronted each other again in front of Shiqi City. Heavenly Lord Qin took a step forward and said to Fang Qingshan after setting up the 10-terminal formation, "Fellow Taoist Fang, you can choose any of the 9 spell formations. Please, Your Majesty, be careful. Young Master, be careful. Be careful, junior brother." When Fang Qingshan heard this, he nodded at the crowd and walked toward the 10-terminal formation. Of the 10 terminal formations, apart from the desolate formation that had already been broken, there were the Sky Absolute formation, the Earth Fierce formation, the Wind Roaring formation, the Ice formation, the Golden Light formation, the Blood Transformation formation, the Blazing Flame formation, the Red Water formation, and the Red Sand formation. Within the Heavenly Absolute formation, the innate clear chi was obtained, and within it was the primal chaos. In the middle, there were 3 streamers according to heaven, earth, and man, these 3 talents which combined into one chi. If a person entered this formation, there would be thunder and they would be turned into dust. If an immortal encountered this formation, their limbs would be shattered. The Earth Fierce formation was according to the number of the earth. There was a thick body hidden in it, and there were many changes. There was a red streamer hidden in it. When it waved, there would be thunder above and fire below. If mortals and immortals entered this formation, there would be no way for them to come back to life. The Wind Roaring formation was according to the number of earth, water, fire, and wind. There was wind and fire inside. The wind and fire were the innate chi, the samadhi true fire, and millions of weapons came out from it. If a human or immortal entered this formation, the wind and fire would intersect and the thousands of blades would be gathered together. The Ice formation, the Golden Light formation, I choose the Wind Roaring formation. Fang Qingshan said in a clear voice after looking around. If that's the case, please enter the formation. Hearing that Fang Qingshan had made his choice, the array master of the Wind Roaring formation, Dong Tianjun, waved his sleeves and entered the formation. As for Heavenly Lord Qin and the others, they were even more delighted. It would have been fine if Fang Qingshan had chosen other formations, but the Wind Roaring formation was one of the best of the 10 absolute formations. In the original trajectory, the 12 Golden Immortals of Chan School had broken the 10 absolute formations. The Heavenly Absolute formation and the Earth Fierce formation had only used one person to sacrifice the formation. Then, when the Golden Immortals appeared, the formation was immediately broken. Only during the Wind Roaring formation, Ronding's words could not be ignored. The Wind Roaring formation was not the wind of the world. The wind was the wind of earth, water, and fire. If there were 10,000 blades in the wind when it moved, how could they resist it? They had to first borrow the air-frozen pearl to control the wind, and then the formation could be broken. However, what they did not know was that Xiaohe was the reason for their success and failure. The Wind Roaring formation was ranked among the best because of the power of the wind. However, it was also because of the wind that once it was restrained, it would be like a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. The reason why Fang Qingshan chose the Wind Roaring formation was also because he had a Dharma treasure that could restrain it. It was not the Taiji painting or the air-frozen pearl. With the power of the Taiji painting, even the chaos storm, earth, wind, water, and fire could be stopped, let alone a mere 10 absolute formations. However, Fang Qingshan still did not intend to use it. Firstly, this treasure was a treasure of Ren School that could suppress the luck of Ren School and could not be used easily. Secondly, he could not afford to use it. The last time he activated the Taiji painting, he almost exhausted the spirit meridians, the world tree, and the Khanate small world. How could Fang Qingshan dare to use it? The air-frozen pearl was also a Dharma treasure that could restrain the wind-roaring formation. However, this treasure was in the 9-tripod Iron Fork Mountains, 8 treasures cloud-like cave, in perfected Du-Yi's place. It would take more than a day to go back and forth, and it was a little too late. Apart from this treasure, Fang Qingshan had a treasure that could restrain the wind-roaring formation. That was the world tree. In the 8 trigrams, Sun was wind and also belonged to wood. As long as it was wood, it would naturally be restrained by the world tree, which was the source of all wood. The world tree had a total of 7 layers. Not to mention the first few layers, there were no treasures, elixirs, Tao books, or cultivation techniques in the last layer. There was only the power of the world tree. It was the power of the world tree's origin. After Fang Qingshan successfully transcended the tribulation and became an itinerant immortal, he completely controlled the key of the desolate god. He let the world tree completely swallow the key of the desolate god. This treasure was not what it used to be. It was not inferior to the heaven chessboard that had advanced to the Khanate numinous treasure. It was precisely because of this treasure that Fang Qingshan was not afraid. Seeing that Heavenly Lord Qin and the others were overjoyed, as if they were about to take revenge, Fang Qingshan could not help but shake his head. He ignored them and stepped into the wind-roaring formation. Chapter 458. Fang Qingshan. I don't know if I should say that you are a newborn calf that is not afraid of tigers, or that you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. To think that you would choose my howling wind array. In the howling wind array, Dong Tianjun looked at Fang Qingshan coldly. But no matter what, since I'm here, I'll settle my old and new grudges today. Good luck. With that, without giving Fang Qingshan a chance to speak, Dong Tianjun held the peachwood sword in his hand, executed the 7-star steps, and muttered something. As Dong Tianjun moved, the entire howling wind array was immediately activated. Wind and fire moved at the same time. At first, the volume was extremely low, like a small string whispering, like willows brushing the surface of the water. Then, it gradually grew louder like pearls falling on a jade plate. In just a moment, it became as noisy as a storm. In the end, the sound seemed to reach its peak. The silver bottle broke, the water splashed, and the iron cavalry rushed out. It was like a huge bell. The wind helped the fire, and the fire borrowed the power of the wind. They complemented each other, and the power was completely greater than the rhythm of 1 + 1 = 2. The wind was like a tornado, and the fire was like a prairie fire. It covered the sky and covered the earth. There was no blind spot at all. Moreover, it was pervasive. Without a defensive supreme treasure, even a golden immortal would be obliterated by the wind, and their souls would be shattered. It was just like the yellow wind, great sage's ultimate technique, Samadhi divine wind, in the journey to the west. Even with Sun Wukong's capabilities, he could only be defeated by it, unable to do anything to it. Once he borrowed the wind pearl from Bodhisattva Lingji, he would basically be crippled. Although Fang Qingshan did not have the wind pearl, he had the Tree of World. After completely swallowing the key of Desolate God, the Tree of World could be said to have successfully made a great leap. After all, in ancient times, when the sacred king of the celestial race cut down the Tree of World, he took the largest half of the Tree of World back to support the Void God realm. Among the remaining fragments, the key of Desolate God might not be the largest, but was at least in the top 10, top 5, or even top 3. Moreover, it supported the Khanate small world and took root in the spirit vein. The power of the World Tree was probably not any weaker than those low-grade, innate spiritual roots. Moreover, because of the all-wood origin, the World Tree was basically invincible among all the wood attribute spiritual roots. It could even restrain those of a higher level. In the 8 trigrams, there was Sun. Sun was wind and corresponded to wood, so wind was also wood. As long as it was wood, it would naturally be restrained by the World Tree. Furthermore, would have the effect of restraining wind. However, Fang Qingshan calmly pushed his hair and opened the heavenly gate. It was as if the heavenly cave had opened. Clouds floated and sunk, and it was as cool as water. A towering tree slowly rose into the sky. Although it wasn't tall or big, it gave off an indomitable feeling. One couldn't see its top, nor could one see its roots. It was rooted to the ground, and its aura made people not dare to look at it directly. Although the World Tree was a tree, the origin of all wood, it was not just a tree. Didn't you see that the world was before the tree? The World Tree was actually equivalent to a good fortune jade archive that could contain 3,000 great Taos. In a trance, the tree was no longer a tree, but an incarnation of the great Tao. The wind and fire attacked, and the World Tree swayed gently, emitting waves of heavenly sounds. Although the sound of the wind and fire was loud, it could not conceal its existence. Also, as the leaves of the World Tree rustled, the surging wind and fire seemed to have run out of energy and were gradually calming down. The ancient World Tree? The wind and fire moved. In fact, Dong Tianjun was still guarding against Fang Qingshan's Taiji painting. Although he didn't believe that Fang Qingshan could activate it, what if the great Taoist Master Xian Du secretly helped him? However, he didn't see the Taiji painting, but he saw the ancient World Tree. After it was cut down in ancient times, everyone thought that it had become extinct. They didn't expect that a new tree would be reborn. Do you think that you can restrain my howling wind array with the ancient World Tree? Wishful thinking. Dong Tianjuan's face was livid, and it was so gloomy that it seemed like water was about to drip out. Without saying a word, he slapped his chest and spat out a mouthful of blood, instantly increasing his original 100% power by 120%. For a moment, it was cold, and the world changed. Invisible yellow sand swirled. Sand and rocks flew, and the mountains collapsed. Rivers and seas were overturned, and the earth quaked. A red sun was dim, and the stars in the sky were in a mess. Pangu had seen the wind before, and it didn't seem like it was coming with ill intentions. Boom! The universe almost collapsed, and the mountains and rivers within thousands of kilometers trembled. Damn, I really can't let my guard down. Fortunately, I made more preparations today. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would really fail. Seeing the power of the array formation, Fang Qingshan couldn't help but change his expression even though he was already prepared. He didn't have time to think and took out the Khanate Small World. He cooperated with the World Tree. He naturally took out the All-Heaven chessboard and used it with the All-Heaven Death chess mystical ability. Then he used the 5-element halo, the Great Protection Technique, the Tai 5 Smoke Net, the Haotian Treasure Mirror, and so on. Fang Qingshan could be said to have used all his means. He didn't have to worry for the time being. I like to see how long you can last. Seeing that Fang Qingshan had endless means even without the Taiji diagram, Dong Tianjuan's expression changed. However, he still didn't think that Fang Qingshan could break the array formation. Although he couldn't do anything to Fang Qingshan for the time being, he couldn't break the array formation either. The reason why the 12 Golden Immortals could break the array formation was not only because they had broken the malevolent aura of the 10-terminal formation, but also because of their cultivation. Even if Fang Qingshan could protect himself, Dong Tianjun felt that it was still a pipe dream for him to break the array formation. Therefore, he naturally wouldn't be able to take it if he only activated the array formation for a long time. One couldn't be tough for long, and one couldn't be soft for long. However, he didn't know that Fang Qingshan actually had a way to find the array formation's flaw. After defending against the array formation's attack, Fang Qingshan directly burned his lifespan, communicated with fate, and used the escape technique, just like he did in the desolate array. He easily found the howling wind array's flaw. After all, the howling wind array was built with wind, and it also failed with wind. Once the wind was restrained, the array formation wouldn't be far from breaking. However, this was Fong Qingshan. If it were any other itinerant cultivator, they would have died a long time ago by burning their lifespan. It's done. At a certain moment, Fong Qingshan, whose face was a little pale and body was starting to wobble, suddenly had a bright gleam in his eyes. He looked like he had the pearl of wisdom in his hands. Break! Since he had found the howling wind array's flaw, Fong Qingshan naturally wouldn't be willing to stay there any longer. After all, although the consumption was not as much as activating the Taiji diagram, it was not small. Moreover, he had burned his lifespan. If he didn't recuperate properly, it would inevitably hurt his foundation. When that happened, the loss would outweigh the gain. The vast waves. The all-heaven sword was unsheathed. The sword chi was like frost, and its light was cold. When the sword was drawn, all techniques were born, and the array formation was destroyed. Crack! There was a crisp sound that sounded like thunder in Dong Tianjuan's ears. Chapter 459. In the blink of an eye, the sun rose in the east and set in the west. However, Fong Qingshan still did not appear. Fortunately, the wind howling array was still activated, and Dong Tianjun did not come out. That meant that Fong Qingshan was still alive. Everyone could not help but look at Fong Qingshan in a new light. Wen Zhong and the others, in particular, could not help but believe what Xian Du said about the desolate array being broken by Fong Qingshan. Then, they could not help but worry about Dong Tianjun, who was in the wind howling array. As for Heavenly Lord Qin and his brothers, they looked at each other and felt that their worldview had been destroyed. The 10 Ultimate Array was a secret array formation of Jieskul. Apart from the 3 ultimate arrays of desolation, the Immortal Slaying Array, the Heavenly Cycle Array, and the Heavenly Cycle Array, no other array formation dared to say that it was better than him. Even the 10,000 Immortal Array did not have that ability, even if the brothers had not completely practiced it to the greater mastery. However, with the power of the 10 Ultimate Array, even a golden immortal primordial unity would fall if he did not have Supreme Treasure with him. They did not expect Fong Qingshan to have that ability. After all, he was just an itinerant immortal. Even if he was the direct disciple of Rin School and had some life-saving means, he should have retreated now. The reason why a trump card was a trump card was that it could only be used for a while. Once it was used, it would have a time limit. However, looking at the current situation, it did not seem like he was relying on some trump cards to barely hold on. Is Xian Du helping him again? This thought flashed through everyone's mind and was immediately thrown to the back of their minds. If Xian Du was willing, he would not have to go through so much trouble. Once that situation was exposed, it would be a huge blow to his reputation. What exactly is going on? That was the only question in the minds of Heavenly Lord Qin and the others. Just as when Zhong and the others were feeling uneasy in Jiangxia and the others were filled with anticipation, there was finally movement in the wind howling array. Boom! The entire wind howling array shook, and the sound of silk ripping could be heard. It was continuous, melodious, and clear. Following that, the crowd saw cracks appearing on the howling wind array, and they were spreading out like ripples. Impossible! Seeing this scene, Qin Tianjun and the others immediately cried out. However, regardless of whether they believed it or not, the outcome was already set in stone. The next moment, the abundant and irresistible qi of heaven and earth, the murderous aura, the evil aura, and all the other bad luck auras seemed to have returned to nature after being trapped in a cage for a long time. They broke through the restriction of the howling wind spell array and pierced through the sun like a rainbow. Not long after, Fong Qingshan staggered out with Dong Tianjuan's head in his hand. Third brother. Upon seeing this scene, the goddess of golden light's eyes turned red. She revealed an unparalleled killing intent. She took out a sword and was about to attack Fong Qingshan. Stop! However, before she could make a move, she was stopped by Heavenly Monarch Qin. "What are you doing?" "Avenge third brother." The goddess of golden light struggled and roared. Fighting on the battlefield is fair and above board. If you die, so be it. What are you doing? What a disgrace." As he spoke, Heavenly Lord Qin knocked the goddess of golden light unconscious and handed her to Heavenly Lord Zhao. In fact, how could he not want to avenge Dong Tianjun and Heavenly Lord Yao? However, that was just a thought. Firstly, they had agreed previously that as long as Fang Qingshan broke through, for a while more, the old and new grudges would be written off. What was the point of going back on his word now? Not only would it make others laugh at him, but it would also tarnish the reputation of Jie School. More importantly, did he think that Xiandu, who was standing at the side and did not say anything, was a rock? He was even afraid of him interfering in an open battle, let alone now. Heavenly Lord Qin knew that if he had not attacked quickly, the goddess of golden light would have already died. I wonder what else Heavenly Lord Qin has to say. Fang Qingshan nodded at Xiandu, Jiang Zia, and the others before speaking to Heavenly Lord Qin and the others. When Heavenly Lord Qin heard that, although his heart ached, he had no choice but to perk up. He cupped his hands at Fang Qingshan. "Since we have already agreed on it, the 10 heavenly lords will naturally not go back on their word. From now on, the karma between the Taoist and the 10 heavenly lords will be written off. In the future, half of our luck will be given to you." As he spoke, Heavenly Lord Qin bowed to Xiandu again. "We have misunderstood eldest senior brother Xiandu senior brother. Please don't hold it against us and forgive us." "Forget it." Xiandu waved his hand, indicating that he did not mind. Seeing that, Heavenly Lord Qin could not help but heave a sigh of relief. He turned around and said to Fang Qingshan, "I wonder if the Taoist can return my third brother's corpse?" "Of course." Fang Qingshan nodded and returned Dong Tianjuan's head to them without hesitation. At this point, Fang Qingshan's matter had come to an end. After returning to West Qi, Jiang Zia and the others naturally held a banquet. Firstly, it was to congratulate Fang Qingshan for breaking free from the desolate array and being safe and sound. Secondly, it was to congratulate him for breaking 2 array formations in a row. At the same time, it was also to welcome the great Taoist Master Xiandu. For a moment, it was very lively, and everyone was toasting each other. The next day, Xiandu bid farewell to Jiang Zia and the others. He had survived the tribulation, and since then, he had gotten rid of it. When he went back to cultivate, the sage-to-be was in sight. The reason why he stayed here for one more night was because of Fang Qingshan. As for what to do with the 10 terminal formation in the future, it was not within his consideration. That was the matter of the clan of enlightenment. If he really overstepped his authority, he was afraid that the other party would not be happy. "Junior brother, will you go back to the great red sky with me to visit Master?" After bidding farewell to Jiang Zia, Xiandu turned around and said to Fang Qingshan, Can I?" Fang Qingshan was overjoyed to get the identity of a direct disciple of the clan of humanity. Now, Xiandu actually wanted to take him to meet the sage. Fang Qingshan was so happy that he stuttered. "Haha, you are the direct disciple of the clan of humanity. Why not?" Xiandu smiled faintly. "Besides, with your aptitude and luck, Master will only be happy to see you." "Then, thank you, eldest senior brother." Fang Qingshan thanked him solemnly. Fang Qingshan immediately bid farewell to Jiang Zia and then followed Xiandu back to the great red sky. This time, if he could really get the approval of Xiandu, Fang Qingshan would really make a lot of money. Not to mention that he could listen to Xiandu's preaching. It was the sage's preaching. His cultivation would definitely improve. If he was accepted as a disciple, he might even be given a Dharma treasure. If Xiandu took him as a disciple, it would at least be a middle-grade primordial spiritual treasure, not to mention a superior-grade primordial spiritual treasure. Moreover, even if Xiandu did not preach to him or give him a Dharma treasure, as long as he accepted him as a disciple, Fang Qingshan could gain a lot of luck. For Fang Qingshan, Dharma treasures and cultivation methods were not important. As long as he had luck, he would have everything. With some anxiety, some excitement, and some anticipation, Fang Qingshan came to the Great Red Sky, the base camp of the Clan of Humanity, under Xian Du's lead. Chapter 460. Speaking of base camp, Laozi's nest was originally in the Kunlun Mountain, the ancestral vein of desolation. This was his birthplace. However, as the cultivation of the three brothers improved, especially after they proved the way, the great ways were different. Heavenly primogenitor obeyed heaven and people, while sect leader Tontian intercepted the secrets of heaven. Although the two did not get along well, they could still restrain themselves. However, after they accepted disciples, this kind of trouble became the biggest, causing the whole Kunlun Mountain to be in a foul atmosphere. In the end, they parted on bad terms. The Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning occupied Kunlun Mountain. The Grand Master of Heaven went overseas and established the Green Touring Palace on Golden Turtle Island. Because of Rin's school, Laozi came to the ancestral land of the human race, Mount Shouyang. To the public, Kunlun Mountain could not afford to have three saints in one sect. Actually, no one knew that it was because the three brothers had a falling out. Perhaps they were not familiar with Mount Shouyang, but when it came to the Shouyang copper, it was like a thunderclap piercing their ears. It was a top-notch material for crafting weapons. The legendary human emperor's supreme treasure, the Xianyuan sword, the mountain-splitting axe, the sea-pacifying needle, and the 9 cauldrons of Yu the Great that stabilized the world were all made from the copper of Shouyang. Although he knew that he couldn't kill the goose that laid the golden eggs, after refining so many supreme treasures, the Shouyang copper mine would eventually be emptied. Without this vein, the luck and spiritual qi of the entire Mount Shouyang would be greatly reduced, and the grade of the entire mountain would drop by more than a level. In addition, there were more and more humans, and I liked peace and quiet, so I thought of moving. Later on, they decided to settle things once and for all, directly moving into the newly established Great Scarlet Sky. With Fang Qingshan's cultivation, he originally couldn't reach Great Scarlet Sky. After all, this was outside the 33 heavens. Fortunately, Xian Du led the way and directly used his dermic powers to wrap around them. When he snapped back to reality, he already arrived in Great Scarlet Sky. Although it was only first heaven, it was as vast as the vast world. The spiritual qi here was mysterious and white. It was enshrouded in mist and had a faint fragrance that refreshed the mind. It was all innate spiritual qi, and in terms of quality, the spiritual qi in the Wui Mountain Grotto could not be mentioned in the same breath. In a trance, he felt as if he had arrived in ancient times. There were numerous spirit mountains and strange peaks, and countless waterfalls and flowing springs, which were like jade belts and pearls adorning them. Pines and cypresses were lush green, red-crowned cranes often cried, exotic flowers and rare grasses, spiritual birds and rare beasts were innumerable. Many palaces and pavilions were scattered on the celestial mountain. The purple cloud pavilion was the city. The blue cloud pavilion was the city. The ground was paved with gold, and the steps were made of jade. These were not important. The most important thing was the Hongjun Tiandao rhyme. The entire Great Scarlet Sky was filled with great Tao power, as if it was a Tao comprehension tree. If he stayed here for a long time, even if he didn't cultivate, he would still benefit imperceptibly. It was rumored that the places where saints and sages resided would become the best places to comprehend the Tao. Fang Qingshan had thought that it was an exaggeration before, but only after seeing Dachi did he realize that it was even better than the rumors. Natural treasures, outstanding people, and a place of prosperity. A land nurtured a talented person, and a talented person also nurtured a land. They complemented each other and took what they needed. Great Scarlet Sky, because of this old man, became even more powerful. And this old one also borrowed Great Scarlet Sky to verify the Great Tao. This was also the reason why Great Scarlet Sky's Great Tao was so rich. Let's go. Seeing that Fang Qingshan had quickly recovered from his shock, Xian Du couldn't help but nod to himself and lead Fong Qingshan towards Xiandu Cave. Along the way, there were strange flowers and plants, rare birds and noble beasts. What made Fong Qingshan feel strange was that there were many people wrapped in bee skins in great scarlet sky, and their bodies were brimming with an ancient aura. And these people's cultivation was not low. Fong Qingshan saw that the person with the lowest cultivation was actually a sky immortal, and the one with the highest cultivation was not much weaker than Xiandu. More importantly, some of these people actually had merit on them, which surprised him. These are all ancient humans. Seeing Fong Qingshan's shocked expression, Xiandu explained lightly. Hearing this, Fong Qingshan couldn't help but have a sudden realization. At the same time, he was deeply shocked by the foundation of Ren School. The demon race had emperors and saints, and the Wu people were also divided into the ancestral land and the underworld. As the main characters of the world, it was even more so for the human race. Not only was there the goddess's bloodline, but there was also the Ren School, the sacred emperor, and other saints, mighty figures, itinerant cultivators, and so on. After the ancient times, the liches and demons retreated, and the human race stepped onto the stage of desolation. How could there not be some experts with luck? However, after these experts cultivated to a certain level, some of them retreated to the Fire Cloud Cave with the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors to suppress the luck of the human race. Some of them lived in seclusion in the 3 mountains and 5 peaks, living a free and unfettered life. But there was also a portion who hid in Mount Shoyang to cultivate, and later moved to Great Scarlet Sky with Laozi. Although Ren School was not famous, and there were not many direct disciples, it could not compare to the tens of thousands of immortals from Jie School. But in terms of foundation, it was not weaker than Jie School at all. What a good lord of Tao and virtue! What a good rule by doing nothing! Fong Qingshan couldn't help but praise in his heart. Fong Qingshan had always thought that Laozi established Ren School, and Jie School and Chan School taught the human race on his behalf. But it was only because Laozi did not do anything and did not have the manpower. Now, it seemed that the rule by doing nothing was true, and it did not make sense that he did not have the manpower. Make a fortune in silence. Rule by doing nothing, do nothing, and do nothing. That was the only thing that Fong Qingshan could think of. The Grandmaster of Heaven was outstanding, and tens of thousands of immortals came to pay homage. What a great aura! What happened in the end? When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. Even the inheritance was almost broken. Although Laozi did not say anything, the heavenly lord of primordial beginning had always followed his lead. Zhuanti and the others had always been wary of this eldest senior brother and did not dare to be careless. Not to mention the thousands of thoughts in Fong Qingshan's mind. Xiandu brought Fong Qingshan to the Xuandu Cave and stopped in front of it. Greetings, eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother, you're back. There were 2 boys in gold and silver clothes at the door. They had bull horns on their heads. When they saw Xiandu, they immediately pounced over happily. At the same time, they sized up Fong Qingshan curiously. Gold horn, silver horn, you guys are slacking again. If teacher finds out, he will not let you off easily. A smile appeared on Xiandu's face as he patted their heads and chided them softly. Eldest senior brother, if you don't tell master, master won't know. Gold horn said very innocently. Seeing this, Fong Qingshan immediately knew that these 2 should be the Gold Horn and Silver Horn King, who were chased around by Sun Wukong in the journey to the west in the future. Xiandu chatted with them for a while and introduced them to each other. Junior brother, this is Gold Horn and Silver Horn. They are the boys by teacher's side. This is your senior brother, Fong Qingshan. After a pause, he said, Gold Horn, Silver Horn, entertained senior brother Fong. I'll go in to see teacher. Junior brother, wait outside. So it's senior brother. Eldest senior brother, go ahead. Teacher has been waiting for you. Hearing this, Gold Horn nodded repeatedly. Senior brother, please say a few good words. Fong Qingshan said with a smile. Chapter 461. After Fang Qingshan followed Xuandu to the great red heaven to meet the sage, West Qi became lively again. It was unknown if it was because Fang Qingshan had broken 2 of the 10 absolute formations in a row, which made them think that the 10 Heaven Lords formations were just SOSO and looked down on them. As a result, due to their carelessness, they were repeatedly defeated by the 10 absolute formations. As for the 10 Heavenly Lords and the others, since they couldn't take revenge on Fang Qingshan because of the deaths of Heavenly Lord Yao and Heavenly Lord Dong, they blamed the new and old grudges on the people who broke the formation later. Jiang Zia had no choice but to hang up the no-fight sign and go to Kunlun Mountain. The primeval Lord of Heaven only asked him to go back and wait for the news. Naturally, there would be experts coming to help. Not long after Jiang Zia returned to West Qi on his David's deer, he calculated with his fingers and was overjoyed. It turned out that the primeval Lord of Heaven had issued an order for the 12 golden immortals of the clan of enlightenment to help Jiang Zia break the formation. Since the 12 golden immortals arrived, Jiang Zia quickly ordered his disciple, Wu Ji, to build a tent outside the city to welcome the arrival of the immortals. Not long after, strange phenomena appeared in the sky. Some rode rare beasts, some rode on clouds, some turned into rainbows, and some rode on swords. A dozen immortals arrived together. Needless to say, they were the 12 golden immortals of the clan of enlightenment. Guang Qingzi of the Peach Garden Cave of Mount Jiuxian, Qi Jingzi of the Yunshao Cave of Taiwan Mountain, Zhu Lusun of the Flying Cloud Cave of Narrow Dragon Mountain, Immortal Tai of the Golden Light Cave of Qianyuan Mountain, Master Lingbao of the Yuanyang Cave of Kongtong Mountain, Heavenly Lord Munju Shri of the Yunshao Cave of Wulong Mountain, Immortal Samantabhadra of the White Crane Cave of Jiugong Mountain, Immortal Tsihong of the Luojia Cave of Mount Putuo, Immortal Yuding of the Golden Cloud Cave of Jade Spring Mountain, Heavenly Lord Daohang of the Jade House Cave of Golden Court Mountain, Immortal Qingshu and Immortal Huanglong of the Magu Cave of Twin Dragon Mountain. Among them, the weakest, Reverend Huanglong, was a primordial immortal, while the strongest, Guang Chengzi, was a grand heavenly immortal. Unfortunately, even though he was a Zenith Heaven Realm cultivator, he could not avoid the cataclysm. In the end, he had to go through the 9 Bends Yellow River Formation. His 3 flowers were destroyed, and his 5 Qi were destroyed. If it was not for the Heavenly Lord of Yuanshi who asked for a few 9 transformations golden pills from Taishang Laojun, he did not know when he would be able to recover. Jiang Zia was overjoyed to see the 12 senior brothers coming to help. However, what surprised him was that after the 12 senior brothers arrived, they did not follow him to Shiqi City. Instead, they stood on the spot and looked into the distance as if they were waiting for someone. Jiang Zia didn't have to wait for long before he saw a colorful cloud drifting over from the horizon. An old Taoist who looked kind but had a pair of eyes that were full of schemes descended from the sky on a sick deer. The 12 golden immortals, including Guang Chengzi, all went up to greet him and greeted him. Greetings, Teacher Randang. It turned out that this person was the current deputy sect master of Chan School, Randang. He was also the leader of the 7 ancient Buddhas of the Buddhist sect, the ancient Buddha of Randang. Speaking of which, this person was not simple. He was originally one of the 4 lamps of the Spirit Vulture Mountain, the supreme grade Khanate numinous treasure, the Spirit Coffin Lamp, which was the first coffin in the world. However, anything that came into contact with the first coffin was not simple. Therefore, his identity was considered noble. He was also one of the 3,000 guests of the Purple Cloud Palace. He had also obtained the heaven-measuring ruler, a superior-grade Khanate numinous treasure on the Treasure Division Cliff. Unfortunately, he was born a little late and his luck was a little bad. However, he was very good at currying favor. After the Purple Cloud Palace closed, he directly became a disciple of the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning. The Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning could not accept him as a disciple because he had once listened to the Tao in the same hall as him, nor could he chase him away. Therefore, he set up the position of Deputy Sect Master in Chan School and took him in. This time, the 12 golden immortals had come out of the mountain for the first time. Naturally, they had to fire the first shot. They needed an experienced and prudent person to take charge, so the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning sent him out. However, Fang Qingshan had once thought about that. He felt that the Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning's goal was very likely to make Randang take the blame for the 12 golden immortals. After all, the easiest way to quickly break the 10 absolute arrays was to first find a person to sacrifice to the array and then use absolute strength to break it. Finding someone to sacrifice to the array was not only against the heavens, but it was also not something that the righteous Tao would do. The Heavenly Lord of Primordial Beginning could not bear to part with his disciple, so he sent Randang. Let's not talk about that for now. After Randang arrived, he immediately asked Jiangxia to remove the battle exemption token and led the 12 golden immortals to meet the 10 heavenly lords. When Zhong had been living a good life recently. After all, the 10 heavenly lords had made Jiangxia suffer. When he heard that Shi Qi was challenging him, he immediately rushed out with the 10 heavenly lords. However, when he saw Randang and the others, his heart sank to the bottom, and his face turned livid. Good heavens, in order to win, Chan School was really willing to do anything. Looking at the lineup, apart from Yun Zhongzi and the old man of the South Pole, almost all of them had come out. In order to deal with the 10 heavenly lords and a few outer sect disciples, they really thought highly of them. However, the arrow was already on the bowstring and had no choice but to shoot. The 10 heavenly lords could only bite the bullet and activate the array formation to meet Randang and the others. Time and fate were things that could not be forced. Randang first let the outer sect disciple of the Jade Void Palace, Deng Hua, sacrifice the array formation and wear down the baneful aura of the array formation. Then, the heavenly venerable Munjushri attacked and broke the heavenly absolute array. Heavenly Lord Qin died. Then, he sent Xiao Zhen to his death. Perfected Samantabhadra followed closely and broke the array formation. Heavenly Lord Zhao died. Later on, he let the 2 generals of the Shang dynasty, Fang Bai and Fang Xiang, as well as the disciples of the heavenly venerable Han Dulong and Xue Xiao, sacrifice the array formation. Daoist Ci Heng, Qi Jingzi, perfected Tai, and perfected Yu Ding attacked after Han Dulong and the others died and broke 4 arrays in a row. At that moment, including the 2 arrays that Fang Qingshan had broken previously, 8 of the 10 absolute arrays had been broken. There were only the last 2 arrays, the red water and red sand. At that moment, the aura of Shi Qi was naturally invincible. However, Chaoga's side was gloomy and miserable. Under such circumstances, if Wang Tianjun and Zhang Tianjun were to attack, they would only be dying for nothing. Wen Zhong immediately sounded the gong to retreat. Then, he rode the Black Qilin out of the camp and went to get reinforcements. Originally, Wen Zhong had only seen Jiangxia and some third-generation disciples of Chan School. Therefore, he had only invited some outer sect disciples. Now that he saw Randang and the 12 golden immortals attacking, he knew that it would be useless if he did not invite a heavyweight. In the entire Jie school, apart from the 4 disciples and some inner sect disciples, only the eldest senior brother of the outer sect, Zhao Gongming of the Luofu Cave of Maunamei, could resist Randang and the 12 golden immortals. The 4 disciples included her teacher. Wen Zhong naturally did not want to trouble her. Wen Zhong was not familiar with the other inner sect disciples, or he felt that they were not up to the task. Although Zhao Gongming was in the outer sect, his cultivation level was close to that of the 4 disciples. Moreover, he was righteous. More importantly, the 4 saints of 9 Dragons Island, the 10 heavenly lords, and the other outer sect disciples were under his management. Now that something had happened, he naturally looked for him to help vent his anger. Chapter 462. How dare Chan School do that? Maunamei. The current Maunamei was not the outstanding Maunamei of Mount Shu in the future. The most famous sect was not some sect, but Zhao Gongming of the Luofu Cave, a disciple of Jie school with a zenith heaven cultivation level. When Zhong found Zhao Gongming and told him everything, Zhao Gongming immediately flew into a rage. Jie school had only sent a few outer sect disciples. It'd be fine if Chan school had also sent a few outer sect disciples, or even 1 or 2 golden immortals. After all, they knew that Chan school was different from Jie school. They did not have that many people. However, the 12 golden immortals and an expert of the older generation like Randang had gone too far. Zhao Gongming immediately expressed that he wanted to go down the mountain to support Wenzhong, lest Chan school thought that there was no one in Jie school. A single mistake could cause everlasting regret. It would be 100 years before he turned back. What Zhao Gongming did not know was that once he left the mountain, it would be difficult for him to turn back. Not only would he die and be restrained by others, but he would also implicate his 3 sisters to follow in his footsteps. He was even one of the fuses for the final battle between Jie school and Chan school. Junior brother, teacher wants you to enter. Great red sky, Xuandu cave. Xiandu's voice came from the cave. When he walked out, he happened to see Fang Qingshan's relieved expression. He asked in surprise, Junior brother, what's wrong with you? After Xiandu entered the cave, the golden horn and the silver horn called out to Fang Qingshan. Senior brother Fang, how did you become teacher's disciple? I haven't been recognized by teacher. If you haven't been recognized, why did eldest senior brother ask us to call you senior brother? Could it be that eldest senior brother lied too? We have to hide it from teacher. Yes. Otherwise, eldest senior brother will probably be punished by teacher. Looking at the two of them who were talking seriously, Fang Qingshan could not help but be speechless. Senior brother, where are you from? Is the human world fun? Senior brother, can you bring us to play? Senior brother, why is your cultivation level so low? Fang Qingshan was about to go crazy from the two brats' questions. After being enlightened by Laozi, Goldhorn and Silverhorn had always stayed in Great Scarlet Sky. Moreover, they had maintained the hearts of children, pure and adorable. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been chased around by Sun Wukong during the journey to the west. The two of them simply had 100,000 whys. They were curious about everything and wanted to ask everything. In the beginning, Fang Qingshan answered seriously, but he soon became flustered. Only when Xiandu called him did he heave a sigh of relief. He hastily avoided Goldhorn and Silverhorn, running into the mysterious capital cave as if he was fleeing. Xuandu Cave, my residence. Fang Qingshan thought that it would be so gorgeous and shocking. Spiritual energy was like rain, and purple energy was dense. But when he saw it for himself, he was a little disappointed. It wasn't that he was disappointed, but it was different from what he had imagined, because this was really a cave, a simple and unadorned cave. However, no one dared to underestimate him. A mountain wasn't famous because it had a celestial. A water wasn't deep because it had a dragon. Fang Qingshan greets the grand, pure Tao Lord. Looking at the center of the cave, on the cloud bed, there was an expressionless old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion. His eyes were closed, and his face was expressionless. Although he looked ordinary, like an uncle next door, no one dared to underestimate him. Fang Qingshan even bowed respectfully. He didn't acknowledge himself as a disciple just because Xiandu said he was a direct disciple. In order to protect Xiandu's face, Laozi had to acknowledge him as a disciple even if he had to pinch his nose. When Fang Qingshan bowed, Laozi seemed to have fallen asleep and didn't hear anything. He didn't move at all. Regarding this, Fang Qingshan was already mentally prepared. He wasn't anxious or impatient, and he just maintained his bowing posture. 15 minutes, 2 hours, half a day, 1 day, they didn't move, didn't eat, and didn't drink. It was as if time and space had stopped. It was actually a month. Fortunately, it was Fang Qingshan, and fortunately, it was Laozi. Your willpower is not bad. As if he had just woken up from a dream, he opened his eyes. There was no joy, no admiration, and no other expression. There was only the supreme oblivion and transcendence. Get up. Thank you, heavenly venerable. Fang Qingshan heaved a sigh of relief. I already know about you, Laozi said unhurriedly. It's fate that you were able to obtain the mystical ability of Sanqing and come here. Since Xian Du has already acknowledged your identity as a direct disciple, you'll be a direct disciple of Rin School in the future. Laozi did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. However, your cultivation level is still a little lacking. You have not cultivated to the golden immortal realm. You can't be arrogant. Yes, I will follow your orders, master. Although he had expected it, Fang Qingshan could not help but be excited at that moment. This is my disciple, the direct disciple of Ren School, the authentic Pangu. He's definitely a golden thigh. He's even more valuable than the direct disciples of Chan School and Jie School. What surprised Fang Qingshan the most was that, as he had expected, after Laozi acknowledged him, an overwhelming power descended on him. Luck, endless luck. It was unprecedented luck. Clang, clang. The heavenly chessboard in his body also cheered, and connate restrictions extended at a speed visible to the naked eye. 1 ray, 2 rays, 3 rays, 4 rays. In just an instant, the heavenly chessboard turned from an inferior grade connate numinous treasure to an inferior grade 1 with 8 connate restrictions. The reason why it had such a good effect was because Rin School was rich in luck and had treasures to suppress it. There were also few people. One had to know that Laozi was first of all a Pangu Sanqing, so he enjoyed a portion of Pangu's luck. Secondly, he was the first disciple of Hongjun and the eldest senior brother of the Celestial Sect of Wonders. He was born to be in charge of the Celestial Sect of Wonders, so he enjoyed a portion of the Celestial Sect's luck. Then, the human race was the main character of the world. He established Rin School and achieved the Tao. He was born with a portion of Rin School's luck. Putting everything else aside, just the 30% luck alone was enough for him to sleep peacefully. He could watch the flowers bloom and wilt in front of the courtyard and follow the clouds in the sky. In addition, he had the mysterious yellow pagoda and the taiji painting to suppress his luck. He did not have to worry about his luck dissipating. He had only accepted Xian Du's direct disciple, so he did not have to worry about his luck being ruined. Other people had too many monks and too little meat, but he had too little meat. That was also the reason why Fang Qingshan had gained so much even though he had only received a small portion. However, before Fang Qingshan could calm down, an even bigger surprise arrived. Since you're a disciple of Rin School, you naturally can't be too shabby. Laozi did not seem to have sensed the changes in Fang Qingshan's body and continued speaking calmly. Since you cultivate the Tao of the 5 elements, I'll give you these 5 spirit pearls. As he spoke, he waved his hand gently, and a string of 5-colored spirit pearls landed in Fang Qingshan's hand. Thank you, master. Fang Qingshan took it with a look of joy. Although he did not know the grade of the 5 spirit pearls, he knew that they would definitely be exquisite. Chapter 463. Since you are a disciple of Rin School, you must know the Tai Ching Immortal Technique. Before Fang Qingshan could recover from the joy of getting the numinous treasure, Laozi continued. Since you use the 5 elements method as your foundation, you don't have to transform it all into the Tai Ching Immortal Technique. You can just use it as a reference. The master leads you to the door, and the cultivation is up to you. Only by walking your own path can you reach the great Tao. Just like the sword Tao secret you practice, it is just a pure yang reference to the Tai Ching Immortal Technique. With that, Laozi tapped lightly. Before Fang Qingshan could even react, countless pieces of information surged into his primordial spirit. Fortunately, Laozi also knew that Fang Qingshan's spirit could not bear so much now. So he sealed it and only waited for his cultivation to improve before unsealing it. Yes, disciple understands. Fang Qingshan used Taoist Hisha's strange book of Hisha as his foundation to cultivate the 5 elements method. However, although this strange book of Hisha was a Tao technique that pointed directly to the golden immortal realm, there was only a glimmer of possibility. In addition, generally speaking, few people could surpass the original owner with a cultivation method. Fortunately, Fang Qingshan also obtained the 5 elements technique, one of the 3,000 great Tao in a mortal world. With the inheritance of the world tree, there was no problem cultivating to the golden immortal realm. However, after the golden immortal realm, it would be difficult to improve. This was also what Fang Qingshan said when he accepted Bo Yikao as a disciple. There was no problem before the golden immortal realm, but after the golden immortal realm, he could not help. Now, with the Tai Ching immortal technique, he really had a pillow when he wanted to sleep. Laozi had 2 strengths, and this Tai Ching immortal technique was the most suitable Tao technique for him, combining the Pangu Great Tao and the Hongjun Great Tao. It was a Tao technique that pointed directly to the primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal. With it, Fang Qingshan might not be able to break through the primordial chaos and sage to be, but it would not be a problem to break through to the zenith heaven golden immortal realm. Well, in that case, let's go. He had given Fang Qingshan a title, a cultivation technique, and a spirit treasure. There was nothing more for Laozi to say to Fang Qingshan, so he calmly told him to leave. Since you've already entered the disaster, you must be careful. If you can successfully pass through the disaster, it will greatly benefit your future cultivation. Thank you for your guidance, Master. Disciple will take his leave. Fang Qingshan nodded, bowed respectfully, and retreated. Seeing Fang Qingshan leave the Xuandu cave with a joyful expression, Xiandu smiled faintly. Looks like junior brother has gained quite a lot. Hee. Senior brother also knows that junior brother used to be a loose cultivator and has never seen much of the world. I've made a fool out of myself. Fang Qingshan smiled without the slightest bit of embarrassment. Xiandu could not help but shake his head when he heard this. He did not continue and changed the topic. Junior brother broke through 2 of the 10 extreme formations in succession, so you can be considered to have already broken free from the Great Tribulation. In the future, will you be cultivating in Great Scarlet Sky? Or do you have other plans? Qingshan has decided to return to West Qi. Fang Qingshan said to Xiandu, Master said that if I can safely escape from the Great Tribulation, it will be of great benefit to my future cultivation. Since Master said so, I won't keep you. Xiandu heard this and nodded. But be careful. Right and wrong are just for talking too much, and all troubles are because of standing up for others. Jiang Zia and the others now know your identity, so they won't make things difficult for you. You just need to stay in West Qi and wait for the end of the Great Tribulation. Thank you for your guidance, senior brother. Although Fang Qingshan would not do exactly as Xiandu said, he appreciated Xiandu's kindness. You and I have met for the first time, so I don't have anything good to give you. Xiandu took out a purple golden gourd from his sleeve and handed it to Fang Qingshan. Only this alchemy method is acceptable. This gourd of 7 transformations golden pills is a gift to junior brother. 7 transformations golden pills. Fang Qingshan's eyes lit up when he heard that. Xiandu is indeed my eldest disciple. His cultivation level had been inherited by me. His alchemy skills were probably above Yun Zhongzi's refining skills of the Chan School in Yun Zhao's array formation realm. The pills were divided into 9 revolutions, and 9 was the extreme number. The 9 transformations golden pills that I refined were comparable to the legendary 9,000-year-old immortal peaches and ginseng fruits. 1 pill could allow a mortal to directly become a golden immortal. However, if he did that, he would probably never be able to reach the great Tao in the future. Even so, it could be seen that this item was precious. After all, after the ancient times, it was no longer the time when golden immortals were like dogs and zenith heaven was everywhere. Moreover, this item had a very good effect on healing and restoring cultivation. After the 12 golden immortals had their 3 flowers cut off and 5 chi in their chests, they relied on the 9 transformations golden pills to quickly restore their cultivation. Although it was not the famous 9 transformations golden pills, the 7 transformations golden pills were not bad either. After all, in the entire desolation, I was the only one who could refine the 9 transformations golden pills. Moreover, because of the materials, there were not many left over the years. Otherwise, When the heavenly lord of primordial beginning begged me to give the 9 transformations golden pills to the 12 golden immortals, he would not even have 12 of them. As a result, C.I. Hang and the others were dissatisfied and followed Randang out of Chan's school and into the embrace of Buddhism. Of course, it was also possible that they were rebellious and had long been seen through by the heavenly lord of primordial beginning. He knew that things could not be done and did not want to waste resources. Although he had obtained enough 9 transformations golden pills from me, he did not give them to them. Let's not care about that for now. With this gourd of 7 transformations golden pills, if Fang Qingshan consumed it himself, he would probably be able to break through before he broke through to the perfected immortal realm. If Qiong Qi consumed it, even if he could not recover his golden immortal cultivation, he would probably be able to become a perfected immortal and mystic immortal. Thank you, eldest senior brother. Fang Qingshan took the gourd happily and, thanks Xiandu, as long as you don't mind my shabby gift. Xiandu made a rare joke and then said seriously, all right, I'll bring junior brother to the mortal world. As he spoke, Xiandu shook his sleeve and wrapped Fang Qingshan with his supernatural power. He took him down the Dachi sky and returned to the mainland before returning. Just as Fang Qingshan rushed back to Shiqi, everyone in Shiqi was once again in deep trouble. Wen Zhong invited Zhao Gongming out of the mountain. Even if he was facing the 12 golden immortals of Chan School and Randang alone, Zhao Gongming was not afraid at all. Relying on the top primordial spiritual treasure, the sea-calming divine pearl, he defeated Guang Chengzi and the others. Of course, it was certain that Randang must have hidden his strength. Zhao Gongming had the cultivation of Zenith Heaven, and the sea-calming divine pearl was a top primordial spiritual treasure. However, Randang was a half-step sage to be, and the coffin lamp in his hand was not inferior to the sea-calming divine pearl. If he showed his true strength, there would be no time for Zhao Gongming to show off. From this, it could be seen that Randang did not intend to go down the same path as Chan School. Otherwise, there would be no need to wait for Luya to clean up the situation. Chapter 464. In Shiqi City. During the day, in the face of Zhao Gongming's sea-calming divine pearl, Guang Chengzi and the others were at their wits' end and lost face. If they could not think of a solution as soon as possible, they would not only lose face, but the clan of enlightenment and the honored lord of the origin. However, the sea-calming divine pearl was indeed a little troublesome. Back then, after the 3 lectures in the Purple Cloud Palace, Daozu fused the way and divided the treasures among all living beings. Tongtian sect leader obtained them from the Treasure Division Cliff. There were a total of 24 of them, and they formed a string. They emitted 5-colored light, making it hard for people to see them clearly. As the name suggested, since it was called sea quelling, it could even quell the sea. One could only imagine how much power a single pearl possessed. With 24 pearls gathered together, it could even suppress the power of 4 seas. Later, after Tongtian accepted Zhao Gongming, he gave him the treasure. During the day, the juniors were the first to fight. Huang Tianhua, Lai Zinzi, Nijia, and even Yang Jian all fought. However, they were quickly defeated even if they were all ganged up on, let alone fighting one-on-one. He followed Huang Long to battle, but he didn't expect that there was no worst outcome, only worse. Huang Long was quite a pitiful person. When the heavenly lord of primordial beginning took in disciples, he spread the word of desolation and set up a formation on the Kunlun Mountain, saying that anyone who could pass the formation would become a disciple of the clan of enlightenment. No one knew where the yellow dragon germ came from. All they knew was that the yellow dragon had achieved the Tao and was lucky enough to pass the formation. The heavenly lord of Yuanshi had no choice but to accept him as his disciple. However, it was common knowledge that the primeval lord of heaven did not like the otherworldlings. Because the Jie school had taken in many otherworldlings, he called the people of the Jie school as people who did not have fur or horns on them. Since that was the case, one could imagine Huang Long's status in the Chan school. He was a typical person with no status. Although he was on par with Guang Chengzi and the others, be it in terms of cultivation, magic treasures, or other aspects, he could be said to be at the bottom. After exchanging blows with Zhao Gongming for less than 10 rounds, he was captured by Zhao Gongming. He did not even manage to escape, which was a complete disgrace to the Chan school. Actually, it was not Huanglong's fault. Compared to Zhao Gongming, he was at a great disadvantage. Firstly, it was their cultivation base. The enlightened yellow dragon was merely a primordial immortal, while Zhao Gongming was already a Grand Luo. Not only that, he was not at early-stage Grand Luo, but he was already at late-stage Grand Luo. Perfected Huanglong was a typical person without Dharma treasures. How could he fight back against the sea-calming divine pearl? Of course, all of that was secondary. What truly prevented Sage Yellow Dragon from escaping was the other magic treasure in Zhao Gongming's possession, the Dragon Binding Rope. Although the Dragon Binding Rope could not be compared to the sea-calming divine pearl, as its name suggested, it was the nemesis of the Dragon Clan. Although it was not as effective as the God-striking whip against immortals, it was still a nightmare for the Dragon Clan. With this treasure and other reasons, there was no way Huanglong could make a comeback. If I could take away that treasure of Zhao Gongming's, everything would be simple. Perfected being Yu Ding could not help but sigh at the sight of everyone frowning in the solemn atmosphere. Since Yellow Dragon Jiren was not favored by Heavenly Primogenitor, others would naturally not have any deep relationship with him. Fortunately, he was not without helpers in the clan of enlightenment. No one knew whether it was because they had similar interests or something else. Anyway, he was on good terms with Jinren Yuding. Seeing Yellow Dragon being captured, how could Yu Ding remain indifferent? Although Yu Ding's reputation was not as good as that of Guang Chengzi in Perfected Tai, no one among the 12 Golden Immortals dared to underestimate him. That was because he cultivated the 9 transformations technique, the protective divine skill of the clan of enlightenment. This was a method that could prove the Tao with strength. It was on par with the Pangu real body technique of the Wu people and the 8-9 mysteries of Buddhism. They were known as the 3 major body refining methods. Coupled with his cultivation and sword principle, it could be said that even Guang Chengzi could not defeat him in a short time. However, being hit by the sea-calming divine pearl, even his physical body could not bear it. If it were not for Guang Chengzi and the others who intercepted and rescued him, he would probably follow in Yellow Dragon's footsteps. However, this was also because he had not mastered the 9 transformations technique. If he had really mastered it, he would be fine even if he was hit a few times. Didn't you see that Du Obao of the tribe of Severity also cultivated this protective divine skill? When he fought with Guang Chengzi, he was unscathed after being hit by his sky-throwing seal a few times. Let's not talk about this for the time being. When the others heard Yu Ding's words, they could not help but shake their heads secretly. Before the treasure fall coin and the divine light of the 5 elements shone brilliantly, the only treasure that could collect magic treasures, as far as they knew, was probably the Tree of 7 Wonders in the hands of the Western Saint Juni Buddha Mother. However, such a treasure was not something they could borrow. If they did not use magic treasures, they could only use their strength to suppress others and take away the sea-calming divine pearl from Zhao Gongming's hand. Therefore, Guang Chengzi and the others smiled bitterly. Maybe there is a way. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out in the silent scene. Although it wasn't loud, but who were the people present? There was a voice that could not be heard clearly. Whoosh! For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the person who had just spoken. Neza was startled by the sudden change. He shivered and almost turned around to escape. Neza, do you have a way? Immortal Tai felt sorry for his disciple, so he hurried to help. I don't have a way. Neza shook his head like a rattle when he heard that. If you don't have a way, then what are you mumbling here for? Immortal Tai said grumpily. Guang Chengzi and the others were also disappointed when they heard that. I don't have a way, but it doesn't mean that others don't have a way. Neza said, feeling wronged. Whoosh! Everyone's gaze once again converged on him. What do you want to say? Say it all at once. Immortal Tai glared at the naughty kid. Neza smiled awkwardly, then turned around and said to Jiang Zia, "Martial uncle, do you still remember the first time I met the Emperor Benefactor?" Although Jiang Zia was an apatheicized person, he obviously had no right to speak in this situation. He was sitting quietly at the side, but did not expect Neza to suddenly call him. He did not react for a while. "Do you still remember that I asked the Emperor Benefactor how he took away my Dharma treasure?" Seeing that Jiang Zia was stunned, Neza did not care and repeated the situation at that time. "Oh, in that case, the Emperor Benefactor has a way to take away the Dharma treasure?" Hearing Neza's words, the eyes of Guang Chengzi and the others lit up. "It's possible, it's just possible," Neza emphasized. As the saying went, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Neza was not sure if Fang Qingshan had a way. If he did not, wouldn't it be awkward? He had to give them a heads up first. However, at this time, everyone did not care about that. It was like trying everything they could. "Where is the Emperor Benefactor?" "Zia, quickly send someone to get him. Whether he has it or not, we will know if it's true or not." Guang Chengzi immediately ordered. "You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.